So hey there, I did a review for this game the other day. I'm going to assume you watched it, but this video over here is going to be me playing through the entire thing, explaining what's going on. Do the most meticulous playthrough of Immortal Planet on YouTube. A very prestigious title indeed. So before I start, if you haven't seen the other video, I would recommend watching it, but if you don't feel like spending 8 minutes, or if you already have the game and want to have a guide, this is Immortal Planet, which is a isometric, Dark Souls-like. I mean, I was trying real hard not to use a Dark Souls comparison during the review, but it felt kind of like describing the Mona Lisa without, talking about sight at all. So I just thought, you know what, bite the bullet. This is basically just a Dark Souls 2D fun game for fun boys. So I'm going to try and play through the entire game very quickly. It doesn't take too long. So I'm just going to show off a bunch of stuff, show how the game plays, tell you about a bunch of secrets, and hopefully we'll have a good time on this journey we're going on together. First things first though, here's your character creation screen, sort of. I'm playing on normal mode to begin with. I think Nightmare is more fun personally, but you're not going to have that if you're playing the game for the first time, so this one's for you, kid. Basically, you have these three weapons to begin with. You have the Swordspear, the Assaultblade, and the shieldaxe. I think they're all pretty balanced. For the most part, every weapon plays a little bit similarly. Their basic combo is always the same. The biggest thing is they have different quirks, so I'm going to show them each off now. On top of that, you also have the relics of the lightfoot, the Ironspine, and the bloodshot eyes. This is the very important one in my opinion, at least in normal runs. A good way of describing this is the Ironspine makes blocking really good, the lightfoot makes dodging really good, and bloodshot eyes lets you get health back when you take damage. To go back in the Dark Souls comparison almost immediately, lightfoot lets you play like Dark Souls 2 or 3 where you're dodging everywhere. Bloodshot Eyes lets you play like Bloodborne, and the Ironspine is for your, board and shield kind of boys who want to play Dark Souls 1 again. I know this is going to be, I'm not going to use this comparison that much, but it's very, very apparent with this game. I was spending a long time trying to write scripts where I didn't actually use any comparison to that game, but it's really to the detriment of trying to convey understanding. So I hope you'll forgive me for calling Immortal Planet the Dark Souls of indie, isometric Dark Souls-like games. Anyway, I'm going to start off with the Swordspear and the lightfoot. I'll just show you quickly what they do. So here's the preamble. There are those who speak of the icy planet, still more who seek it. I'm going to explain as the game goes on what the lore is, because the lore is actually pretty interesting. Again, to use a Dark Souls comparison about 12 times within 10 seconds, it has the same thing going on where item descriptions, enemy descriptions, stuff like that conveys this really rich story that you're going to completely miss if you don't actually look into it. So here's our boy. He's pretty good at what he does. To explain the basics of what you do in this game. First off, you have this pretty cool dodge move here, where you dodge. I'm not gonna... I think you get it. On top of that, you also have your swipe. There's only one kind of attack in this game, and it's swip, swipe, swap. One thing I want to note real quick is the game recommends using Gamepad only. I think that's a bit of a... it's misadvertising itself. I've played the game mostly on keyboard, and this build I'm using right now is hardest to use on keyboard, and I've beaten the game with it beforehand. I don't know why. This is really stupid. For whatever reason, I've beaten this game like 5 times. I have no idea why. I wanted to review it after beating it once, and then I was like, what if I played one more time to make sure my opinion's correct? But it doesn't take very long, so I just ended up getting a bunch of reps in, I guess. Get very buff at playing Immortal Planet. On top of that, you also have this block here. It's pretty good. It blocks things. You also can sprint around, and when you sprint and you stab, you have this dash attack. I'll explain the intricacies of what each of these does because they have a lot of different things they can do, but for the time being, those are the basic components you have for having a good time. You'll also notice this 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom here. This conveys, or rather, this represents what abilities you have in place. You can have 2 items and you can have 2 spells. Again, a bit like Dark Souls is going to get real anyway. So I'm just going to quickly show off what you can do. Click to attack. I'm not sure what it is on the gamepad, but I think I have it on A or something like that, but this game's easier on gamepad in my opinion, but it's not so much more difficult on keyboard that you have to be, hesitant to buy it if you don't have access to a gamepad. So, first off, this is the Swordspear. It looks like a sword right now, but if you hold your weapon down, you can do something called awakening your weapon, and every single weapon in the game has this. There's 9 in total, and they all have these forms. So you hold it down, and it becomes a spear. You also get a cool attack to start off with. So the Swordspear is pretty good. I quite like this one. Of the 3, it's my second favorite. I like the Assaultblade the most, and I'll show that off in a second. I think this weapon is best used with the lightfoot, which is what I have equipped right now. So what lightfoot does is, if you dodge right before somebody swipes, you get this cool stamina refresh, which is very useful. So if you use up all your stamina while dodging, and then you do a good dodge in the middle there, if I can Yeah, if you get that cool dodge off, you get all your stamina back, which means you can keep going pretty hard for an extended period of time. Overall, it's very effective if you want to keep dodging. I think it's a bit more dangerous than picking the Ironspine. I think the Ironspine is the best item that you can start off with, but all three of them are pretty good in my opinion. So yeah, that was the Swordspear and Lightfoot. Swordspear, good item. Lightfoot, good item. Let's just move on. I apologize. I'll put a timestamp somewhere to show you where you can skip to if this is pretty boring, but I just want to get this out of the way so I can feel like I conveyed some value to whoever's choosing to watch this. Alright, Immortal Planet. Good on you, buddy. Assaultblade is also pretty cool. I've also equipped the Bloodshot Eyes, which is the Dark Souls, the Bloodborne perk I was talking about earlier. So as you can see, this is a pretty basic sword as well. But the big thing about the Assaultblade is if you were on people, you see I've lost a lot of stamina there, so I'm just going to dash a little bit to show you again. When you awaken the Assaultblade, it gets more damage and you get all your stamina back, which is a very effective combination there. You can really attack someone and then get all your stamina back, and then you'll be very effective at fighting them for another flurry. That was a very strange series of words. I have no idea what I'm saying. So, on top of that, the Assaultblade I think is best with the Bloodshot Eyes, which is if you get hit here, I'm just gonna get hit again. Yep, keep on, come on, buddy. You'll see I get my life back when I counterattack there. Normally it's not that good. These enemies are pretty easy, but I think the Bloodshot Eyes is it's probably the best overall. If you look at the long con of the game, this doesn't really matter. You can win the game pretty easily with any of the three. So you get the Assaultblade, you take a lot of damage, you awaken it up to get all your stamina back, and you just, you really hit the guy hard and get all your life back pretty quickly. Alright, so I'm just going to show off the last one and we can get to actually playing this fucking video game. I don't know why I'm doing that. I feel like it should send me back to the menu because I haven't saved yet, but this game's clever. It knows that people are likely to fall off cliffs. So, last one now. We have the shieldaxe and the Ironspine. This is what I'm going to go with, and this is what I'm going to go with for my weapon combination. I don't like the shieldaxe that much. I think it's the item I went with when I first played this game. But, it's cool. It's a shield, it's an axe. As you can see, it's pretty clear what this is used for. It makes your block better. And the awakened form gives you a big swing. This one doesn't make your block better, but it is a pretty far-reaching weapon. It's pretty strong. If you keep it in this mode, you have a better block. Now, the Ironspine, it lets you perfect parry. So if you attack and you parry perfectly like I did just there, you don't lose any stamina, which is pretty good. Pretty good overall. On top of that, because I have the shieldaxe, when I get hit, I also lose less stamina than I would usually anyway. Normally that takes away a lot more, but because of the item I've chosen, I'm not in that particular conundrum. So that's the basic items there. The shieldaxe big swing that you get when you awaken is pretty strong as well. That's the other good point of that weapon. I don't know, it's not for me. So I'm going to go for the Swordspear and the Ironspine. I don't really like the Swordspear that much, but I think it's the coolest, I guess, in terms of the short term of the gameplay. Plus, it also has like a pretty high base damage. I feel like I'm over-analyzing this game a lot. It's not that difficult. If you say Souls-like, you generally tend to assume the game's going to be very difficult, but just have a good time. Take care of yourself. So here's another mechanic right there. If you hit people when they have no stamina, you knock them into a stun state for a few seconds. That's a really, really important thing you're going to do in this game, and you're going to do it a lot, especially with the Ironspine. For the most part, most of the game is just trying to go parry, parry, and then you swing them off there. Also, if they're on a ledge, you can just knock them off like this. I'm going to be abusing that quite a bit, so I don't have to actually play that much of the video game. Whoop, whoop, and you just go, see ya, buddy. Yeah, it's going to get, that's going to be most of it right there. So here's the best item in the game right here. It's the Assist Flask. It's the healing item. The way that you get more stacks of it is pretty weird in this game, but it's a Souls-like, so it's going to be weird in general. And here's a ceremonial pistol. So on 3, if I press that, I get the blood injector, and if I press 4, I get my ceremonial pistol. Both of these items are pretty important as well. Mostly because the items you get in this level, the starting level, you don't actually have to change, whereas everything else requires like a certain level of stats to actually use properly. Ceremonial pistol is good because they can be in an animation like that, and you can just knock them out of it. Plenty of bosses have pretty bullshit attacks which you don't want to deal with, so you can just like, see it, buddy. And that's pretty good over there. Also, you can dash over cliffs like this. This game's pretty bullshit. It has a lot of stupid shit which is locked behind walls like that. And I'm going to be showing you a lot of the secrets in this game, which you just aren't going to get on your first pass through. I watched a YouTube video where a guy like showed a lot of them off, so it was a bit easier for me. But I really hate games which do that, where it's like there's a bunch of content here, but you have to start looking for it every which way. So this guy's getting very lost. All right. Yeah, alright. So those enemies over there are the most basic enemies in the game, as you can probably tell, seeing as this is the first level. These dudes here are a bit more buff. They have this swinging attack here, and they have this first swipe. They're also pretty easy to deal with. It's still the first level, so they're not going to throw anything too hard at you. Nothing really to note. A lot of enemies in this game have pretty cool quirks, and the lore is pretty comprehensive too. I'll start explaining a little bit. The dude you're playing in this awoke from cryosleep, and these are other dudes who are awoken from cryosleep. The reason this game's name is Immortal Planet is because on this planet everybody is an immortal. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory title there, I think. There's also powering in this game, which I'm sure you've seen at this point. But yeah, these dudes, they keep coming back to life, which is what explains the cryosleep mechanic, which is when you go to a save point, basically, you go into the cryopod and you can upgrade your stats and everything. But when you get out, everyone's back, much like in other Souls games. The basic idea is that everybody who you're fighting has the same thing going on as you, where if they die, they just get awoken back up on a cryopod like here. So, the reason why people are attacking you is because they've all gone insane. Being immortal is kind of fucky for your brain, you know. Trauma lasts for quite a while, especially if you're not going to die ever. So these guys have like 80 times PTSD. It's just not a good look overall. So you keep killing them over and over again, they get more and more insane. I would imagine falling off this cliff is pretty shitty as well. And overall, it's just everybody's insane, everybody's having a bad time. Even the people who have a, sense of conscience are also having a bad time because they have very stringent philosophies that are leading to believe that everything sucks, which I guess is pretty self-explanatory. They're basically cursed to die over and over again in this decrepit ice planet in the middle of nowhere. The game gets pretty interesting as you go on. It's got a lot of cool story, but for the time being, I'm just going to show you the stat screen. Pretty self-explanatory. Strength gives you health and damage. Agility gives you stamina and damage. Endurance is the best stat in the game. It gives you armor, stamina, and health. Because I chose the Ironspine, I already have 10 armor to begin with. Basically, when you're starting the game off, the more endurance you get, the better off you're going to be. I'm not going to get that much because I think I'm fine at this point. I've done that gambit, so I'm not going to focus on this one too much. I'll probably get like 5 points, maybe 10. I'll get 10 points just because I don't want to get my balls exposed in stream. There's also willpower. Willpower affects your... turn this down for a second, just literally. Gives you more health and gives you bonus spell uses. You would think this is the item you use if you want to go for a spell build, but it's actually intelligence. Intelligence gives you more spell damage and item uses. Later on in the game, there's going to be an item which lets you reuse your spells over and over again. So you just get all of your stuff into, what was it, willpower? The thing which made your spell damage up, and slowly but surely you get really strong. There's a bunch of builds in this game which you can choose, because of course it's a Souls-like. I'm going to say it a lot, I feel. I really didn't think I would. I haven't really planned this out at all, but yeah, I think I'm going to be saying that a lot. So there's a bunch of builds you can choose in this game. The one I'm going to go for is pretty particular overall. 9 weapons, a bunch of different starting perks, a bunch of different items. This game has a ton of items, so you really have a lot of variety there. I'll show you what I'm going to do as the game goes on, but for the time being, we're just going to focus on this very basic skill set. So just dunk this guy off, and we're Gucci. Just because there's not much else to talk about right now, let's talk about the game's art style. I quite like it. It's pretty good. It's got cool colors, and that's about that. This game, if you haven't watched the review, is made by one TW Games, Thomas Waklobo, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce his last name. But dude's a bit of a dumbass in my opinion. He did a bit of a PR nightmare with this game where he lied to the consumers about there being another ending. He wanted to put it in from what I have heard, and he grossly mismanaged his PR overall. But because he did that the way he did it, people really don't like him anymore because he lied to people about there being a secret ending to get the Steam Rs up. The way it works is if you have a lot of people playing your game at the same time, your trending Rs go up and you appear higher in search rankings, or rather on the featured page. He was basically trying to abuse that because this game was a pretty huge commercial failure on launch. I'm not sure what the exact numbers are now on Steam, Spy or whatever, but it was like, I think 1,300 copies sold. Something very low. And basically that's a bad time, and I think he wanted to inflate his numbers a little bit, but he didn't do it very intelligently. People aren't very happy with him. I'm not very happy with him either. I wasn't the wave of people who got slighted by playing the game over and over again trying to find a secret ending. But just, you know, I mean, I get it. You're just like one dude working on a game by yourself. This is a boss fight, by the way. You're just one dude working on a game by yourself. It might get, you know, a little rough when you spend 3 years and then you sell next to no copies. But at the same time, don't, you know, lie to the people who did support you in your endeavors. It's a bit much. Anyway, this boss fight's pretty cool. I think it's the Temple Guardian is what his name is, something like that. He has a big sword. I'll actually just explain that right now. Or actually, I'll do it in a second when we get to another item. But he just swings pretty basically, and he does that stomp. If you have the Ironspine, a pretty basic way of dealing with this boss fight is to dodge that, and then hit him, and then swing at him a little bit. If you don't have the Ironspine, you can dodge that perfectly, and you can pretty easily get your stamina back and just wail on him. Oh, yikes. Yeah, if you mess up your stun, you're in a stun state for ages and ages, so don't do that. Yeah, so he just does that, you punch him, and then you can just wail on him a little bit. It's a very simple boss fight early on, nothing too complicated. He does have that ability there, but you can just sort of move out of it, and you can also jump up, but again, you can just move out of it. Not the most crafty boss, I will say. Anyway, this game's boss fights are a little bit of a meme. I think there's only one good one, really. Most of them are a little bit... there's 2 good boss fights out of 4. It's not a very big game, is what I'm gonna try and get across here. Again, one-person team, not a one-person team as such, because there was people on art, but one person programming it, working on it for a bunch of years, and then, you know, a bunch of controversy happened, didn't sell many copies. It's still a really great game, though, is a shame of it. I'm gonna believe in death of the author here a little bit. I don't think I ever explained what lightning bolt does. This stuns people. You can just use that pretty quickly. It's kind of like the ceremonial pistol with a longer stun. Anyway, one-person team. I understand your game failed commercially, and that's a pretty big, you know, blight on your name, but I don't agree with lying to consumers. And I think it's very, very easy to disregard his perspective completely and forget to empathize with him. Because again, 3 years of your life spent on this really great game, which just no one played. I think it came out within 1 day of Pyre releasing. Pyre, the Supergiant game, Bastion and Transistor, all that good stuff. But yeah, it just didn't do very well. Anyway, we're going to talk to this computer now. Or rather, this guy who uploaded his brain into the computer is what I think happened. This dude is the Temple AI. You're the Awake Walker. I'm not really sure what that means. I think it's a bit of a joke. This game has a bunch of themes about sleeping and waking up. Here's another one right here. You woke up, you're still sentient, you're going to try and do some good stuff here. Basically, the cycles of sleep have been disrupted, as this man has said. What that means is that people aren't being in hibernation almost permanently anymore. Everyone's just waking up for no reason when that isn't supposed to be happening, and that's why everybody's losing their mind and trying to attack you. He said he awakened you so that you can restore the cycles. I just killed a sentinel there, which means I'm capable, I guess. And we're going to try our best to make the cycle start working again. For whatever reason, which I will explain later, everything's fucked up, and that's not too good. So, this guy opens up this thing for you here, but also if you go back a few steps. I missed one room on the way here, which I'll go back to eventually. I can't really do much there right now. Anyway, you go over here and you get the Hyper. So to explain the boss fight we did just then, the Temple Sentinel isn't actually the dude you're fighting, it's the sword. Basically anybody who picks up the sword gets super drugged up like Bane, and they have to defend the temple, and that's like their brain gets overridden. And the stuff I just picked up, Hyper, you can use to double boost your stamina for a bit while losing some HP. And the Temple Sentinel sword is filled with that stuff. Makes him super crazy, but he does his job, I guess. Over here, there's a locked area. I'll show you real quick to, demonstrate it's locked, I guess. Yep, pretty locked looking. This is not going to be the case in about 10 seconds. So let's just deal with that real quick. To explain some other stuff about the Zone 1 enemies, their lore is that they're basically a bunch of goobers. What would even be the word? The upper crust of Immortal Planet society sent all the dumbasses to defend the crypts there. And because they're not very intelligent and don't have much to do, they all just sort of grew crazy. And as you go deeper into that level, you'll see there's some pretty big ones there as well who took a bit too much hyper. Yeah, it's a bit like a crack den, really. It's a bit of a strange situation. Over here is a cool dude. This is the Frozen Archivist. So this planet's really, really cold. Like, really, really, really cold. And this dude here froze out of his cryopod. You won't really see much of the city or the society in general, but this dude's an archivist. Archives are to the south, and they're basically where all the knowledge is stored, as you could probably guess from the name. This dude's pretty frozen. He's having a bad time, and I'm the first person he's seen in ages. And he's asking where everyone's gone. He is frozen. He hasn't really seen much of the outside world recently. I'll give you a spoiler here. The archives are not operational anymore. Anyway, what happens as you go into the cryopod is that you forget a bunch of stuff to keep yourself from going insane. Because everybody's immortal and comes back very quickly, the society of the planet just uses duels for everything. But the issue with that is you still have the memory of dying and coming back, which is pretty bad for your brain. So the cryopods do you solid and sort of take that out of your mind, I guess. This guy over here is the first vendor you'll see. You have to talk to him 3 times to actually vend, I guess. You want to do that. He has some good stuff. So I'm just going to explain these items real quick. This is a Psychic Surge. It heals you. I'm going to quickly just go over what a psyker is. Its flank's basically covered in this field, which lets you do Warhammer space shit. They're just mages. They're pretty cool. Psyker is very traditional to the Warhammer thing I brought up earlier, though, where it makes you go slowly insane. Everybody's already going slowly insane because they keep dying and having to live forever. So being a psyker on top of that's generally not a very good idea. Next you have the telekinesis. I'll get back to this one. Telekinesis just knocks everybody back. It's not too much to that one. The firebomb is a grenade that coats the ground spreading flame, and it also stuns people on hit. This is a pretty good item. Fireball is the same thing, but it's a spell. And this is the mace staff. This is the item you want if you're going to play a mage build. Mage builds are pretty viable. Every build in this game is pretty viable, I think. It's not a very hard game, but it's pretty fun. That's the good part. Mage staff is pretty good. When you awaken it, you do the same knockback as with telekinesis, and it also gives you 1 extra use of all your spells. This is a good item to have. I'm going to be buying the Vial of Mortal Blood. So this is going to be the first time you see this term, blood viscosity. It's almost completely neglected in actually being explained in the game. The game doesn't bother at all telling you what that is. Basically, this increases the amount of uses you have of your Estus Flask. I just bought 1, so I have 2 uses now, as opposed to the typical 0. So this base area is the hub of the game. Ranking it from easiest to most difficult. South, this is where the archives are. This is the easiest area. Next, you have the prison, which is the medium area. And finally, you have the fortress, which is the hardest area. I wouldn't recommend going here for a while. The boss fight here is a little goobery in my opinion. I would like it to be a lot more skill based. For the most part, there's just it just sucks a little bit. The dude throws a bunch of spells at you. This is where the mage enemy is what I'm going to say. The mage boss, and he's a real asshole. So I'm just going to go back real quick. If you remember about 12 seconds earlier, there was that area that was locked out to me. Recording? Sure. There was that area that was locked out that I couldn't go to. I'm just going to walk back there real quick. Because that item I just bought, the Vial of Mortal Blood, is the key to unlocking that area. So I would recommend doing this one first if you are trying to follow along at home. It's a pretty easy zone overall. You repeat the same boss fight you did earlier as well, so there's nothing too hard here. You see a bunch of people praying to this deity thing here. Don't worry about that too much. There's, they're trying their best. I might go to 10 endurance just because it's a bit safer. So I'm going to go mostly for agility. Agility is the best stat in the game. It gives you stamina and attack damage, and if you can dodge everything, you don't have to worry too much about anything, really. For the most part, if you can just out-stamina the other person by, blocking their hits over and over again, you don't really need to worry too much about actually taking hits. Your HP doesn't matter that much, is what I'm trying to say. These dudes give next to no experience. I'm just doing this for the entertainment value, I suppose. Yikes. I do quite enjoy that, though. One more. There you go. So you see them praying to this statue here. This one is, in particular, is a bit of a weird statue, even as far as statues go. I'll explain this one later on. But these are the challenges. Every time you do one of these, you get more blood viscosity, which means you get another one of these pips in your healing item. Also, it makes your red health stay longer, so if you're doing a run where you have the bloodshot eyes, getting a bunch of blood viscosity means that you can really be in the red for a long time before coming back by damaging the enemy. This is the same zone as earlier, but these dudes are a bit different. They've gotten a new attack where they can throw a Molotov. It's a pretty good attack, I guess. Please wake up. Alright, there you go. There you go. See you later. Our man's here might hurt his friend if we wait around. Not quite. Let's go across. And across. I didn't explain this earlier either, did I? You can open up these things and they contain these health pickups, which give you an extra boost of your healing item. Pretty good, especially in a new area where it goes for a while. As you go later on in the game, you take less and less damage to basic enemies anyway, so it tends to matter less and less as the game goes on, but early on you really want to be trying to maximize. Ooh, okay, this is... Yikes. Let's just stay out of harm's way here. Just gonna pop this. Yeah, that can happen sometimes. And he's down too. The game doesn't really pull any punches as far as damage goes. If you know what you're doing, you're not going to take too much damage in the first place. The reason I block every time is because these dudes sometimes appear out of there. They're a bit annoying. You don't want to deal with them when you're looking for health, but I guess they serve their purpose. What are you going to do, buddy? There you go. There you go. And we'll knock you out. This guy's going to do the same thing here. Yeah, so you open up those packets, you get your health pack. Make sure to do that when you enter a new level, because you're not going to have the attack patterns memorized like I do. Memorize is a strong word for it. There isn't that many attacks in this game. Most of the basic enemies, most of the enemies in general follow the same attack pattern as swing, 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 and then they have one extra move on top of that, maybe. These dudes have a gun, for example. It's, I guess, what they're known for. Yikes. Please let me move. Alright. You can't block the gunshot, by the way, I should be clear about. I have tried to do that many times in the past. So if you actually try and block this, you'll just take damage, but you can block the actual swing, and they're basically the same thing as beforehand. Alright, this area is actually pretty long overall, so I'm just going to talk about some more general stuff. You'll see there's a bunch of purple shit on the floor. The idea behind the psykers is that they, in most pieces of media, psykers are psychics, which means they can hear the thoughts of things, right? Basically what happened this time around is that the psykers went a bit too far. They kept their memories because their memories gave them more strength in a sort of strange way. And because of that, they stayed awake for a really long time. They all went insane, and because they all had magic and were superpowered, they sort of fucked everything up. I'll explain more about that as time goes on, but for the time being, let's focus on this guy here. He's a pretty hard enemy. You're going to want to block these hits because they do a lot of damage overall. He's pretty easy when you just block the red, get out of the way if he dunks you like that, and just keep going over and over again. But the first two times you fight him, the timing's pretty rough. By far the hardest enemy in this level at the very least. Swing first. This entire game is just swing first. Anyway. There's another chest over there, you can pick up some more items. I think the items they give you in the very beginning of the game are the best ones anyway, as far as like having to put stats in is concerned. You can use a ceremonial pistol to disrupt attacks, and you can use a lightning bolt to freeze people in place, and healing is healing, so it's always good. There is a lot of very interesting items in this game, and there's a lot of secrets associated with a lot of them as well. If you stab people, they get stunned for a second as well. Anyway, let me just take care of you real quick. Oh, jeez. So if you were playing with lightfoot on, for example, I messed that up. Okay, that works out. If you're playing with lightfoot, for example, you just want to block all of these as much as you can. But because there's two of them, that makes things a bit worse overall. God damn it. Alright. God. I really don't want to die here. Yikes. This was a lot easier about 20 minutes ago. Again, I haven't really played through, I haven't planned this out at all. I just did the first like 15 minutes or so because I haven't played this game in a bit. But there is a lot of chance that, there is a high chance, a lot of chance, I'm having difficulty with my words. There is a high chance I'm going to really fuck up at some point. It's going to be very embarrassing and I'm going to feel like a huge idiot. But that's okay because, you know, Duelist is fucking playing this game. I'm providing a service here by being the one person online who cares enough to make a full playthrough of this. I honestly wonder how many games there are like this out there, where it's like they're really good, but because of how much obtuse and obscure bullshit they put in, people just never really grip it properly and you know, really feel out the finer points of the gameplay. For the most part, stuff like this is what I really enjoy, though. Like this games like Devil May Cry, where you can really wax poetic with your style. This game has a lot of that as you go on as well. I think the boss fight's in the next room or the room after that. The game gets interesting about... Yep, here it is. So, same boss as before. This is a really hard boss fight if you neglect to take these people out as soon as you can. If you don't, however, they will be shooting at you and throwing Molotovs at you the entire time, so, you know, avoid that if you can. And one more. Okay, one more. Parrying isn't that good in my opinion when you can just perfectly block. I guess it has its purposes, but it has its uses, but you can't really parry gunshots or psychic attacks, which makes it a little bit less useful than a bunch of the other systems in the game. I haven't really been using too much of my stab here, but if you're playing on keyboard and mouse, it's a bit more difficult. It's just where the arrow's pointing, but you can... Ooh, yikes. Alright, I get it. It's where the arrow's pointing, basically. And that's, that gets pretty annoying. It's easier on the gamepad, but it's not very difficult at all if you get a bit of practice in. And you don't really need to stab it. You don't really need to use stab move either. You can win the game pretty easily without it. So, same boss fight as before. I think they might have buffed his numbers up a little bit. Actually, based on how much damage I'm doing, I don't think so. Alright. And let's pop. I really like this healing animation, by the way, where he just sort of borderlines himself in the head. It's pretty metal, pretty hardcore. He's getting him, especially, you know, exactly where he needs to. I'm not sure I'd have this turn to do that. Just pop a injection right in my skull. Quite like the character's design as well. This game has a pretty good Virgil character if any of you play much Devil May Cry. I'll look forward to showing him off in a second, but I think he's the best boss fight in the game by far. This game has 5 bosses if you include him technically. Maybe 6 if you include the Separatists, but... yeah, it is lacking in content. Oh, yikes. Alright, let's just, yep, that's okay. Are you gonna jump on me, or... nope. So the reason we're doing this early, this guy's completely optional as compared to every other boss in the game. But he gives you a pretty good item, and also this zone has something I want in it just over here. So you kill this dude, you get 2,000 more EXP, and he drops this red orb here. Very Dark Souls-like. Pick it up, you get the Temple Sentinel's Heart, and once you have this, you can avoid 1 death blow. Which is pretty useful, because there's a lot of very big hits in this game. So once you've done that, you can go down here. This is a secret shop. The door doesn't open unless you walk very close to it, so we have walked very close to it. Here we are. Here's the lone psyker. He's the coolest dude in the game. For the most part, he's one of the few psychics who hasn't gone insane. He just sort of hangs out here until he's a fuck off. He's pretty cool. Yeah, everybody's having a bad time in the psychological department. We're like smack dab in the middle of the apocalypse right now. Everybody's waking up. All the psychers are insane. Everything's just falling apart. The cryopods aren't working anymore. So people like him are just sort of hanging around, trying to stay away from it and doing their best to live out the rest of their meager existence as they can. Yeah, this guy, he isn't really enjoying the conversation. Again, he's been alive forever, so he's been talking forever as well. But he's a vendor as well. He gives you a bunch of cool stuff. He is mostly for magic. He's just talking about being a psychic. The Psyker Authority is one of the 2 factions in the game. I guess, yeah, one of the 2 factions in the game. They've taken over. We basically found out they worship Xenu. They're kind of like a cult. They worship the planet as a god. A lot of people didn't agree with that, and now everything's sort of terrible. I think every single boss in the game relates to the Psyker Authority in some way or another, and I will explain that as time goes on. So yeah, again, they stayed awake forever, and they got really, really crazy, started worshipping the planet. This wasn't a good time overall. So to explain these items really quickly, this is a Psychic Blade, Teleport, and the Decoy. Psychic Blade isn't that good. It has a lot of uses, and it's, I guess it's decently strong as far as a basic hit goes, but a lot of the spells in this game let you do a lot of, like, it lets you really glitch out bosses and enemies, and you would prefer those over something very straight like this. If you want to do a proper psychic run where you want to feel like you're playing legit, I guess this is the item for you. Teleport I haven't really used too much, but it is how it sounds. You can use it to get across levels pretty quickly, and also to glitch enemies out in places they're not supposed to be. And the Decoy is a good item overall. It's also useful for this Easter egg you can do later on, which I will explain as time goes on. For the time being, I'm just going to buy the Swordspear. So this level still has a ton left. I'm gonna be here for another hot second. To explain the item I just bought, the Swordspear, as you'll see the door is closed there, to prove I'm not lying, I guess. There's no one who can call me out in this, so I could make up any kind of bullshit I want. It's pretty liberating. I could be like, yeah, these enemies here are... These are a bunch of furries, we're just trying to kill furries here. That's the entire game's purpose. There's no greater story whatsoever. It's all just about stupid benign bullshit, which doesn't really matter whatsoever. But if I did say that, it would sort of put the light back on me of why I'm playing it for so long. Yeah, anyway. What was I even talking about? Nice stupid tangent. Anyway, ooh, that's rough. Okay. So as we go on, we'll see a lot more interesting stuff, but the item I just bought, the Swordspear, it's one of the harder items in the game to use, because every time you get hit, it unawakens, so you'll see my spear is awakened right now. I'm just gonna glance forward real quick. Ooh. Well, thank goodness I had that item. As you'll see, the Sentinel's heart just helped me not die there. Okay, that's... next game. Ooh. Alright, let's inject up real quick, shoot up. Get my belt out. And we'll dunk you over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you please fall off? Wow, alright. Anyway. The Swordspear I bought is... every time you get hit with that weapon, you... really? Twice? Okay, that's... okay, easy enough. Every time you get hit, you lose the awaken stance, and every time you want to awaken, you take a decent bit of damage. Thank goodness. So it's a little bit difficult to use if you are getting hit a lot. I don't think I've ever seen this many in one. I guess that's what happens when you're trying to record this for the first time. Anyway, yeah, it's a bit hard to use because you keep taking damage over and over again unless you're really good at not getting hit. It also has the best damage healing in the game for agility, so I'm just going to use that to speed things up a little bit. I thought a lot about what build I should present when doing this long play. I ended up choosing that one just because it seemed like it would be the easiest way to show off some level of skill in the mechanics while still being in the game pretty quickly. The other one I could do is mage, but with a magic build, or a psychic build rather. It's like you just sort of glitch out all the bosses and make them do very, very silly things for no reason whatsoever. And that seemed like it wouldn't be a very good way of showing what the game's actually about. God. There you go. Alright. Yeah, so here we are out of the first zone, really. We're going to get into the next zone pretty quickly. The archives. I don't really want to bother fighting these guys. I'm going to go out. So the archives are pretty interesting because the enemy set there is very different compared to the rest of the game. And also you get to get the alien brain, which lets you actually do these challenges. I feel like I just did this brief little spoiler there, but don't worry too much about aliens right now. So we got 13 points in there. I'm going to change our weapon real quick. It also has the other spell I'm going to be using. I'm going to try and get all of the weapons in the game I can. So to show off the Swordspear real quick. When you awake, it's pretty basic in its normal form, but when you awaken it, you take a bunch of damage. Not that much actually, a little bit. You take a little bit of damage, but it does like a crap ton of damage by itself. Like it's significantly more than every other weapon in the game. Other than maybe the one like secret weapon that you're not supposed to find out about until very, very late on. Which I might show off. I could get it right now if I wanted to, but I think I'll save that for the end of the game. I might use it for the last boss fight just to go full circle with that. But yeah, this is pretty cool. If you get hit, it unawakens, and in its unawakened form, it's like as strong as every other unawakened weapon in the game, which is to say not very. I'm just going to try my best not to get hit, and we'll go from there. I'll also be getting the next spell I'll be using. You can get 2 spells and 2 weapons, or 2 items in your hotkey bar. For the most part, the stuff you start off with, you don't really need to change. Also, this dude over here is a Separatist. Separatists are mini boss fights, which give you a weapon, and also explain a bit of the lore of the game. For the most part, these are the only sane characters left in the game, and they all want to kill you, which I guess makes sense, because that's kind of what you're doing as well. In due time, we'll be getting to him, as in about 2 seconds from now. He's not that hard a boss fight, if I'm remembering correctly. Let's just do this. I just did that to reset my save point to here. This is my current cryopod, the elevator. So this guy over here is the Duelist. There's one in each zone. This guy is right at the foot of the entrance of the archives. Other than the Duelist, there's there's a traveler and there's one other dude whose name I can't remember. So this guy here is like, he got really, really angry about the cycles. He really fetishizes the idea of dying. That's a huge theme in this game. Everybody thinks people who can actually die are gods, which is, you know, kind of funny given how we behave in our actual religious context. But that being said, this dude's pretty angry. He just wants to beat people up. He's waxing poetic about his philosophy. But for the most part, he's just like, I don't like the idea. I have to live forever. I would much rather kill people forever. So as you can see, I lost my thing there. His weapon, which you get once you beat him, is a cryoblade. It's pretty cool. Shoot. Oh, I didn't know it did that. Okay, well, we're learning something new every day. So as you can see, the cryoblade, it has this seep of ice when you hit people with it, or when you hit people with the awakened form of it. And ice reduces your stamina very quickly. Ice is pretty broken in this game. Ice is a theme as well because, you know, we're on an ice planet. There's ice over here. Everything's cold. Clever game, this one. Not really. Okay, I'm having a terrible time with this. I should revert back to the other item. I really hope not. Okay, block, block, block. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. This is gonna be a rough 1.5. So he has a stamina sim, which gets him... The thing about these boss fights is that they're exactly like you, in that they have their own set of items and everything. Which is pretty interesting in my opinion. I always like it when games do that, where it's like, this dude is just you, or a version of you that you could be as well. So he'll stamina sim in the fight pretty often, which is pretty useful because he ices himself as well when he does the ice ability. For the most part, you don't want to ice yourself. It's a pretty bad look. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, when he walks over the flames, he also loses stamina himself. If you lose all your stamina, you start losing HP, which is pretty powerful as well. The ice loss takes a while, but okay, I'm glad I actually beat this guy. I'm glad I didn't speak too soon either. So you beat him, you get the Cryo Saber. It is the exact same thing you saw earlier, where if you hold it down, you do that big sweep, which leaves the flames on the floor. If you walk over those flames, you lose stamina, and if you lose all your stamina, you start losing health very rapidly. But that's fine. We're going to level up, and we're going to get more agility. Agility is all that's going to really matter. You can get one hit pretty easy in this game, but that's why I got the Sentinel's Heart. As long as I'm not too stupid about how I go about things, I should be fine as time goes on. Once you beat the game in normal mode, you unlock Nightmare. And in Nightmare, I think the game's easier in Nightmare, but we'll get back to that real quick. This is the coolest dude in the game. This guy right here, Sleepless Outcast. So he's just talking about here. We really need to sleep. Sleep's good for you. It lets you grow up and be a big boy one day. And if you don't sleep, you go insane. Yeah. And then he's saying, his name is the Sleepless Outcast. He's basically conspiracy theorying about, if I sleep, does that mean every time you sleep, you lose a bunch of memories, basically. And he was like, what if I never sleep? If I keep all my memories, I'll be really good. And it wasn't really good because he went insane. There's really no out for the people on this planet. You're just going to have a bad time. There's almost nothing you can do, which is, you know, kind of pretty, it's a bit of a chilling reality, which is it's a joke because it's a nice planet. Now, this dude's a very important character, and I'll explain later on why, but for the time being, in normal mode, you don't really understand why, for the most part, until the very end. Anyway, people who can actually sleep are on a much higher social ranking as compared to people who can't sleep. I'm just talking about that. Honestly, the lore is a bit superfluous in this game at times. I do skim it quite a bit. It's the TLDR version. This is where the bullshit begins with dashing, by the way. So what you do here is you get on this panel, and you dash over. And took me a very long time to figure out. I might just be dumb, but there's a few of those in this game, and all of them are very, very annoying to figure out by yourself. I think I got like 2 or 3 before reading forums or whatever, and you know, you don't want to have to do that. Just, if you have so little content in the first place, just show it off immediately rather than locking it behind doors. These things over here are pads. If you walk over them, they explode. Don't do that. Dash away as soon as you can. I'm just gonna quickly, yep, there you go. The enemies we're fighting in the zone are aliens. We say they're aliens, but they might be human beings, because we know the Immortals aren't human beings. They're something different. The basic idea of it is that a pirate ship full of aliens came to the planet searching for the secret to immortality. They found it. It wasn't a good secret. You shouldn't have tried to find it out, and now everything's pretty shit for them, and they're stuck here. they've also all gone insane and reappropriated cryopods. So they're basically the same thing as us now, or the same thing as our character here, where they also come back every time you reset the game. Mine's also reset? Mine's also reset. Anyway, once you unlock that thing over there, you can just go back here and you can go through. And that's pretty easy right there. 1, 2, 3, easy enough. As you can see, agility is making me do more and more damage each time. It's gonna get very, very absurd very quickly. I forgot that this thing existed. Anyway, these guys aren't too hard. You sort of serpentine and you're fine, and you just kill them like this. Oh, let's continue. Okay, yep. I do quite enjoy moonwalking in this game. Anyway. Well, that's gone, so that's good, I guess. Another chest over there. That does that, then you can move over. There you go. Open this up. I think in this room... Okay, this is the Eye Shard. This is the next spell I'm using in the game. The Eye Shard is probably the best spell in the game, at least in my opinion. But it does require a bit of willpower, which is one of the stats you have to get. So this guy's going to go bang, bang. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, this is a really strong weapon. I had no idea. I almost always just use the Assaultblade because I like, what's the word? Flurrying on people. Let's just do this real quick. Alright. Ooh, yikes. Okay, let's just, okay, alright. Okay, no issues here, no issues. Let's do that. 2. As you can see, if you take a lot of damage with this weapon, you're going to very much shoot yourself in the foot, so I would avoid it unless you feel like you're very confident with your... You can also duck this guy off as well, just as a little note there. Unless you're very confident with your ability to dodge and block, I would recommend not using the split spear. There's a bunch of really cool weapons in this game. The Crusader is pretty cool. I think every weapon in this game is pretty good. The only one I don't like personally is the shieldaxe, because it's kind of lame. You know, it's just a shield. You know, you have all these cool weapons and you could be using a shield instead. Not very cool in my opinion, personally. I feel like I should edit this because I'm just speaking. I haven't stopped much either. Alright. I get better at streaming, I think. So, here we are. That's the next door over there. I'm just gonna kill this dude real quick and get his loot. This is a mage. Mages are pretty strong. They have swords. You can't parry that sword hit, by the way. Ooh, yikes. Nice. They're pretty rough. They're pretty rough, I think, is what I'll phrase that as. All their spells are pretty good. Okay, there you go. They can shoot laser beams or fireballs and use that sword. The only thing you can really counter is the sword hit, so you're just going to try and get real close with them and keep using that. The beam he used is the disintegration beam we just got now. The idea behind the spells in this game is that they're not spells in the traditional sense, which is like, you know, magic, which is composed out of some eldritch, you know, secret thing from ages past. Spells in this game are just like technology they've developed using the energy they know they can make. So the disintegration beam is like, in its lore, it's talking about how it's used in construction and stuff like that. And basically all the spells are used in that way, where they actually have some functional purpose, but instead are now being used for, I guess, killing people, or sending them back to their cryopod at the very least. This is going to take a while, but I'm going to try and get to 8 spell power so we can use that Eye Shard. Eye Shard's pretty good. I think we should be able to hit it after we kill the next boss, who is just up ahead. Easiest boss fight in the game, in my opinion, other than maybe the Sentinel, which we fought earlier on. They're both pretty easy. They're both pretty baby bosses. You shouldn't worry about them too much. The only real hard boss fight in this game is the twins, I think. And that's just because they're kind of goobery, which is what I was talking about earlier with the mage boss. So as you see over here, you'll see this arena area. You just kind of fight these guys. 1, 2, 3. I think in the nightmare mode, they increase the health numbers a little bit for everything, but it's still pretty easy. Again, if you know what you're doing, this game's kind of overtly simplistic. I wish they would add a lot more content in, like 1 or 2 more bosses would really, what's the word, round this game out very well. So we're going to walk into this boss arena. This dude's gonna pop down. This is the alien commander. Alien commander's pretty cool. He does that, then he kicks you. He's basically the same thing as the other boss fight. His other moves are a bit more annoying in my opinion, but you know, just do the same thing as you did last time. His phase 2 is a lot more annoying actually, because you have to do a bunch of stuff earlier on while he's hitting you. Yeah, this should go by pretty quickly. If you stay close to them, just get locked in the cycle. That swipe does like a shit ton of damage though. I'm parrying it with perfect timing each time, so you can't really tell. But if you don't block it properly, it does basically most of your life bar, at least at this point in the game. So yeah, I just sort of got him into a loop. If you get far away from him, he throws the mines at you in sets of 3. Also, you just use that do that there to open up everything. Now the alien commander is defeated, and that's pretty good, I guess. Got 3,000 EXP, so I'm going to go back and put some more points in the willpower and hopefully get the eye shard. Yeah, alien commander is pretty easy. Probably easier than the Sentinel Guardian, actually. The Temple Sentinel, rather. So I would definitely recommend going to this zone first. Just one off. That's a bit unfortunate. How much more EXP do we need? We need probably like 2 kills. I'm going to get that real quick just because it's going to make the next zone so much easier. Let's do this. And here we're at... Oh, that's... okay. Oh, I didn't dash at you, that's why. Alright. Oh boy. Let's just go back here real quick and fight the 2 dudes over there. Stim up. I haven't died yet, I don't think. But if you do die in this game, you leave a Dark Souls like... a Dark Souls little... what do you call them? You leave your souls on the floor, is what I'm trying to say. And you can just go pick them up pretty easily. And that's that. Let's just keep moving on here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I get hit? Must have been the fire. I think you can kill yourself with that, so be careful. Don't try this at home. Or do try it at home, I guess. Again, I'm very on the defensive if I recommend this game or not. I know, thrilling problems of our time. Alright, so that gives me the Eye Shard. The Eye Shard's probably the best spell in the game, as I said earlier. It's got all of the cool bits of the lightning bolt where it freezes them in place, but it's also a lot more damaging. So I'm just gonna walk up. The alien commander does something very similar. He has all of these moves as well because he's just a bigger version of this guy basically. So he throws these in sets of 3, and that can make it very, very annoying to fight him for extended periods of time. So I just got in very close and locked him in the same few animations over and over again. If you're fighting him with the lightfoot, or the bloodshot eyes, he's much harder in my opinion. I did say earlier that you take a shit ton of damage from the swipes. The Ironspine trivializes a little bit the perfect parry, or the perfect block rather, makes it so that you don't actually lose any stamina. If I was using any other item, I probably would have lost most of my bar. Not really been able to combo him off of stun. But because I have set myself up the way I have, it's pretty easy. Generally speaking, what am I trying to say here? Yikes, okay, that's not too good. Okay, I get it, you're doing it. Yeah, that's pretty good. So as you can see, it reduces their stamina, which means you can stun them. And it also does a ton of damage, which means you can beat them up pretty easily. I'm taking a lot of damage for almost no reason here. I think I might die here for the first time. Hopefully I won't, but you know. No guarantees. Ooh, okay, okay. Alright, that's that. I'm not gonna pretend that's a really hard area in the game or anything. I'm just playing pretty badly. It's just me being a huge, tremendous baby. So let's just go back and get our souls real quick and I can show that mechanic off. Knock you off. Again, the same thing as Dark Souls. Pick up your souls from lost life. Get some more life or whatever. Get some more... full restore your life when you pick it up and you're Gucci to keep going. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. So in this area, these dudes spawn and they're infinitely harder than the other areas, like boy who spawns out of the cabinet or whatever. I guess that's a good name for them, the boys who spawn out of the cabinet. Be careful. They're probably harder than the boss in this area, which is kind of stupid. Really easy boss fight. I keep losing HP for almost no reason. Okay. Knock you off. Let me do this one a bit more carefully. Ooh, okay, I missed. Okay. So let's just do this real quick, because then he'll be dead. And then we'll just stun you. As you can see, he lost most of his health there because he was standing on the ice patch. Ceremonial pistol shot should be fine. There you go. And Bob's your uncle. As you can see, because I got the 8 intelligence earlier, I got one more stack of my pistol. Your life injector isn't actually life injector. Your heal isn't affected by intelligence, the bonus item uses you get from maxing your intelligence out. Only blood viscosity increases that, so it's not really worthwhile to invest too heavily into intelligence. But if you are using a different item as compared to your healing, which I wouldn't recommend because healing is pretty good in my opinion, but if you are using a different item, it's generally not worthwhile to invest too much. So if we go all the way back here, we'll... Ooh, okay, alright. Just calm down for a second there, buddy. These guys are basically just the alien commander. They only have 1 life bar though. And you can also drop them off cliffs there. That's the alien warrior actually. My apologies. Don't want to misrepresent him there. Oh, okay. You're all a surprise. This weapon's really strong. I've never actually used this one before. I don't actually think I've ever gotten this item before either. I just mine. Okay, how about that? It's the exact same thing as the alien commander and the alien troopers have, I think. So that's neat. If we keep moving forward, this should be the last room before. Yes, it is. Oh, okay, you're here. All right, good to see you, buddy. Gonna go over here, pop some tags. There you go. There you go. That lightning bolt's pretty useful. Anyway. Mage enemies in this game are pretty annoying because they always leave fire trails and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if that actually knocks me out of this state. Oh. Oh, really? Yeah. That makes sense. If there's no red on the startup, it means that it's not gonna be able to be blocked. So stuff like that, you can't actually block that, which is a little annoying, but you can just do this, so it's fine. Over here is the path back to the save point. Make sure you open these up very frequently. This game might seem very, very easy the way I'm playing it, but you will die quite a bit before you memorize what they do. And again, memorizing is a strong word for it. They basically have 1 trick each. Just know what their trick is and it's fine. For example, that alien trooper, he kicks you. That's a little bit annoying, but, you know, we can deal with it. We're going to keep on moving forward, though. We'll get back to this challenge in about 10 seconds. So we keep moving forward here. I think this is the last room. This should be the last room here. Wait, let me just go here first. You just don't... You're always gunning for it, aren't you? Can I not knock you off? That's okay. Learning new things every day. Please don't be a... Okay, good. Probably shouldn't have popped any health there. So this room's pretty simple. The rooms aren't too hard in this game. I'm not going to pretend like you have to be a mastermind to get what's going on. So kick me. Yep. Oh, you actually got me there. Good on ya. The only commander isn't too hard. I should have enough health for the next part of this fight. So activate this, Arrivederci, and we're good. So what we do here is we move this one up, we move this one up over here. Very basic puzzle for all you puzzle fans out there. We're gonna move back here, we're gonna dash over, take this platform back, You probably should just save this one first, actually. I'm not sure why I did that earlier. It's almost as if there's almost no one playing this game, and I'm the best substitute for offering a walkthrough through it. Get the combat disc. The combat disc is pretty bad. I don't like it very much. You just throw a frisbee. It's a, you know, it's a frisbee. This dude's gonna try and hit you. Surely he will rise where everybody else failed. And he undoubtedly tried his best, I guess, but it didn't really work out for him. Didn't really work out for him is what I'm trying to say there. So here's the next part of the boss fight. He's going to be taking pot shots at you the entire way through. You want to be careful because they hurt and you don't want to get hurt. But it should be fine as long as you just keep moving. So just wait for him to do a pot shot and then immediately walk over. These lower platforms here which you can use to dash in and out of the fight. Just going to pop some health real quick. Again, once I actually get to the boss fight part, it shouldn't be too hard, but this part's a bit... Oh my god, what am I doing? Yikes. Having a bad time is what I'm doing. So let's just wait for this. Open this up. I wonder if there's another healing pad there. I really hope there is. Okay, I kind of need that, but that's fine. Then we open this up. Luckily, these stay even after you've what's the word? These stay even after you've Let me see if I can kill myself with this. Yep, there you go. These stay even after you die, so next time it'll be a lot easier to traverse into there. But the first time you do it, you're getting pot shots thrown at you. It's a bit annoying to maneuver around. It might seem like it's going to take a long time to get back, but it really won't. Once you've opened up a few paths in this game, it only takes about 2 seconds to get from point A to point B. So we just do this here. We just take this over here. Stay in the center. 1, 2, 3, and we're good. Back in it. So I'm still going to take this as an opportunity to move around and to kill these dudes first. I'm taking a lot of damage for almost no reason. So I can take a lot of damage here and be fine because of the way the healing works in this game. If I pick that life pack up, or that my old souls up rather, get them all back. Okay. So I just go up and I go, hey, this is pretty good. And we're Gucci. Kick me. And then we just do this, and I'm going to throw in a new thing here where I do this as well, because then I can immediately stun him again. Do a lot of damage, do this, immediately stun him again. As you can see, just the ice by itself makes a lot of boss fights trivial. So he hasn't actually thrown any discs yet, which is pretty surprising, because normally he loves that shit. Oh. I need to stun this man. Whose man's is this? Alright, alright. Pop some health. Pop this so he doesn't have any. Yep. And then do that. And then do this. So he's a bit faster the second time you fight him. Not enough to make it anywhere near difficult, but you know, he's trying his best, and that's the important part. So then I'm just gonna back up a little, do this. That just stuns him for a second. I don't actually think it helps me out at all, but I do like using my abilities. Makes me feel like I'm actually doing something here. Block this real quick, block the kick, get him in the back. 1, 2, 3. Easy enough. Again, if you're at a range from him, he does try and outzone you a little bit. I should definitely pick this up. You get the alien cortex from him. The alien commander, I think technically is a optional area as well. You don't actually have to do the alien commander. I really would recommend it because everything else is much harder, and plus like it makes it so you can't do challenges, and they're a pretty big part of the game. But that was pretty simple. Now that we have the alien cortex, we can do a new thing, which is we can do the challenges, which I showed you earlier. I think there's one in this room here, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, these things over here are the challenges. I will quickly get my HP back and everything, put some points in agility first. But for each challenge you do, you get 1 blood viscosity and you get a bunch of experience, so they're pretty worthwhile. Blood viscosity means that you have more time in the red, which is useful for people with bloodshot eyes, and you also get another pip of your thing, which I have explained about 20 times now. I think with this build, health is actually a lot more useful than I was giving it credit for, but we're a bit too deep in the hole now, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, that's not what you want with your Sunday, but... So this one's a little bit tough because they have so many of these mage enemies. These challenges aren't easy because, you know, they're called challenges. I hope you can get that in the title. If you can't, maybe they're not for you. So it's going to get some health in my head real quick and pop this. God, you're really fucking me here, boys. Oh, wow, really? All the way off. If the longer you spend in the level, the more the ground disappears as well. You can very get easily trapped in this sort of lock. Yeah, there you go. That's going to happen a bit. Generally speaking, these are a lot easier because I don't worry about getting hit as much. I can just take one to the chin and keep going. Especially with the Assaultblade, which is what I generally tend to use. This isn't going to be too much of an issue, though, I don't think. So, the biggest thing is you want to make sure you get to this guy first. And then you just walk around slowly. Aiming is hard, guys. Don't worry about it too much. You would think that these future rifles make aiming a bit easier, but walking slowly in a circle tends to be the best option when confronted with guns. Really? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Pop this. That's useful. Oh, man. Oh, okay, that's... Alright, I'll pay that. Something weird's happened to my game just now. I don't think I've ever had... Okay, is it normal speed again? Normal speed again. Fantastic. So I'm just going to throw a few of these first, just to soften them up a little bit. So that one should die to... Really? Okay. I'm having a bad time, apparently. Let's just throw this here, walk over, block this. Can you please fight me? Oh, please. Buddy, you're killing me here. Really? Okay. I want to shoot this guy in the back a little bit so he slows down and is a bit further back from our friend here. There you go. I'll kill him first because he seems to be more polite. That's a pretty terrible reward system there, isn't it? Imagine if I killed myself there. So there's 3 rounds. After the 3 rounds are over, you go teleported back here. This thing killed itself, and you have more blood viscosity. Congratulations. I'm just going to quickly go refund my health real quick. And then we'll go do the challenge from the first area, which I didn't do beforehand. The temple. So the game's whizzing by. How long have I been recording for? These are things I should probably keep in check. But this is most of the hard part of the game over. I wouldn't say the hard part, actually. I'm actually not sure how this weapon fares against the twins. It might be pretty difficult overall. The twins are a really terrible boss fight, in my opinion. Frozen dude's still frozen. Good on him. The next section we're doing is the prison. Let me just do the challenge first, actually, before I get so ahead of myself. But yeah, this game shouldn't take too much longer. It's like after the first bit where you're really kind of slow and bad, once you've gotten enough points in agility, you tend to do enough damage where a lot of stuff doesn't matter that much. I wouldn't say playing seriously. Seriously is a bad way of phrasing it because it implies that I'm playing casually right now. If I was playing to be as fast as possible, I'd probably get the flame katana straight away. But I think there is some value in saving that for the end because it's kind of a cool thing you can do. And also it's a bit of a whoa moment, so let's save that for the end of the game. What am I even fucking saying? Alright, let's calm down here. Let's grab this. I don't really think I need it for this particular one. This level doesn't have a very hard challenge. So we can just group these guys up and kill them pretty easily. So in Nightmare mode, the game gives you all 3 relics to begin with, at the cost of making enemies a lot more difficult, and adding more enemies to the game in general. Not as in new enemies, but just adding more enemy placements to levels you've already done beforehand. But I think getting all 3 relics makes the game so much easier that it's a little bit trivial to add so many enemies in the first place. Once you can do even a little bit of damage, it gets very, very easy to sort of blitz through it. Anyway, this is the next challenge. This one's far easier than the other one. They throw a lot more boys at you, but that's basically all they're really doing here. Should group them up a little bit. Ooh, I took damage. That's rare. Maybe I take a lot more damage than I think I do in a normal run, because it tends to feel pretty flawless. So let's just pop some health here, do this. Okay, that was one too many swipes. I'm gonna get rid of these gun boys first. 1, 2. Oh, only 2 slices. It's pretty good. There is a dash attack in this game, but it's a bit hard to use with the keyboard. And it's not that good in the first place. You mostly just use it when they have low stamina, which, you know, it's fine. It has its purpose. It's a bit like that. It does. Apart from using the Swordspear, I think it does the same stun thing as every other dash in the game. Oh, just the ground disappears beneath you as the level goes on, and in that particular instance, it fucked me in a very particular way. I think I used the wrong button there, but that's fine. Let's just make sure you die. And you. That should be fine. I'll take care of this guy first, as always. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And now this is the route from the same area as beforehand, so... Oh, wow, okay. You got me there, buddy. I'll give you that one. King hitting me. Let's go. As you can tell, if you have enough stamina, it doesn't even matter if you don't do a perfect parry anymore. The game gets a bit trivial at this point, in my opinion. And the route has kind of weird timing, so I was just letting that one play it by ear. That gives me 1 more blood viscosity, as mentioned beforehand, and we're basically done with this particular zone, I guess. Is there anything else we can do here that I've forgotten? Not really. If I want to go back and get some of the items I had in from the lone psyker, maybe, but this is basically done. It's a wrap. Is there anything I can talk about with the lore? I don't really think so. I think I hit on most things that the game's doing up until this point. There's a bunch of cool stuff in the prison, but yeah, no, I don't think there's much else to talk about here at the very least. I guess I could talk about the Immortal Society a bit more. I think they're a bunch of, they're wearing suits, I know that much, because there's a lore thing which talks about having kids being illegal and being forced to wear your suit at all times. And not like an illegal and like a oppressive way. Illegal and everybody agrees this is gross and we don't want to do it way. Kind of, you know, like a necrophilia situation as opposed to I don't know, what's something which people want to do but is illegal. I guess if they made like BDSM legal, that might be a similar thing. I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Don't worry about it too much. Anyway, there's like 5, this is a race of people, and they have like these 5 legendary boys they revere. This is a prison guard. They're the same enemies as beforehand, basically. I do a very awkward amount of damage with them, though. So you want to walk up to these laser beams, and then 2 of them will disappear at a time. For some reason, they do that just in this level, and nowhere else, really. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because that's kind of shitty to do. You have to, you know, sort of tell your player what's going on before you can force them to make decisions like that. But it's fine. If you're watching this playthrough, you're fine. We're going to put some more points in agility so the temple guards go down a bit easier. Or rather, the prison guards. A lot of guards in this game. I think that's agility is the only thing I'm going to put points in for the rest of the game. If I feel like I need some more health at some point, I might put some in strength. Yeah, that guy's done. They shouldn't be this trivially easy at this point in the game. Most people would have died quite a bit at this point and would have put a lot more points into their levels already after dying over and over again and slowly but surely boosting the amount of souls they get each run. There's this thing I really, really like in Dark Souls or Souls-like games where you keep dying over and over again in one area, and you slowly but surely like have this huge payout that you're building up from killing the enemies on the way there over and over again. Not many experiences like that, and when you finally do it, you can level up like crazy. Anyway, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not happy with that. I want to be a bit stronger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have just enough stamina to get that last hit in there, is why it feels so weird. Yep, you got me. We have enough blood vials now where I don't have to worry too much about getting hit. Challenges probably aren't worth it if you're not playing if you're not playing with bloodshot eyes. The blood viscosity thing is pretty important. That being said, because I want to try and get through this quickly and safely, I'm getting a few more challenges than is necessarily necessary. Alright, the next boss fight is the Prisoner, or Prisoner 1 rather is his actual name there. I want to get the lore correct before people wipe my throats in the comment section. Oof. These guys are the prisoners. They're the enraged prisoners in particular. We'll fight their brothers in a second, which are the normal prisoners who get shackled up. So a weird thing they do here in the prison is that they feed everybody poison to make them docile and go to sleep. The only thing is that it doesn't actually work that well, and most of the prisoners have gone insane. The ones who aren't completely insane vomit it out and are very sad about it, and the ones who are insane are very angry and use fisticuff, what do you call them? They punch the shit out of you, what I'm trying to say. These dudes over here are the enforcers. They have a shield and are pretty hard to move, but if you can get them to stun state, they're fine as well. Again, this playthrough I'm showing is very much using the spine to its maximum potential. If you don't have the spine, just dog out of the way and hit them in the back. It's pretty similar. I would say the spine is much harder to use than the lightfoot. Anyway, this dude over here is the Exile, and the Exile is a really, really edgy boy who got really depressed thinking about his old memories. All three of the bosses you fight are called the Separatists. What that means is all three of them went out on their own and didn't sleep for a very long time. The Duelist we fought earlier got really angry about it. This dude got really edgy and has locked himself up in his own basement. He's a consensual prisoner in this prison. And he's basically saying, if we make our authority and no one can, you know, does evil exist, basically? He's an edgy dude who lives by himself and is pretty sad, generally speaking. The last Separatist we fight is probably the coolest one by far. But between the angry dude and the edgy dude, I think that the boss fights aren't too difficult. This guy just like throws stuff at you, and he's a bit of a jerk. I like that each of the boss fights shows you what the weapon will do once you get it as well. They're basically showing off the fact that this guy, you can throw your weapon once you get it, as this person here, which is a pretty cool feature. I quite like that. So he has 3 swipes. I should keep that in mind. Let's pop this. I'll move over here for now. So he can return his blade to him, as can you if you buy his weapon, or take his weapon after you kill him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to back off for a little. Oh, he throws blue flames as well. How about that? You learn new things every day. As you can see, I'm not taking this one too seriously. I think it's easier than the blue flame boy. Ice is really strong in this game, so the ice guy is a lot harder in my opinion. That being said, just wail on this man until he dies, and you get his sword there. I do know his sword's here as well, but trust me, I have a sword. Dude's sword's name is the Wing Razor. It's pretty strong. It raises wings, I guess, as suggested by the name. I haven't really shown off the Cryo Saber or any other weapon really, but I'll just quickly show off what the Wing Saber does because it has my favorite moveset in the game. The weakest moveset in the game by far, but my favorite by far as well. We're just going to quickly go back here, pop a bit more agility. Damage is all that matters. What am I doing? Let's go here. This is the Wing Razor. So the idea behind the Wing Razor is that you can throw it, as could be evidenced by the boss fight earlier. When it's thrown, you have this cool melee, and you can put your dukes up, you know, throw hands. It's pretty good. Jab, jab, cross. Good shit. And then if you hold your weapon back up again, it comes back to you, much like a boomerang. So you can be very cheeky with this, but it's not very useful because of how long the awakening actually takes. And also the melee mode's like horrible and bad and should never be used in an actual run. Because it's really awful. It does like 25 damage per hit regardless of how strong you are. If you lose your wing razor, I think it costs life to get back. So as you can see, we're doing a bit of shenanigans here. This dude can't actually get me, and I can't get my wing razor back either. Normally this would probably fuck up the game and we'd be soft locked or something, but I can just do this for now and be fine. There's a few of those. There's one in this area in particular which is pretty notorious. Be careful, you can soft lock your game pretty easily, and there's no save state, so it fucks with you. It definitely fucks with you. Cryo Saber is pretty cool too. This weapon is sacrilegious. This is like a really, really, really unholy weapon because they had to break open a cryopod to make it. And because every immortal has basically one cryopod associated with them, it's the only real surefire way to kill an immortal in this game. The game doesn't even talk about it too much because of how like sacrilegious it is. So running around with that weapon, it basically means you're a really edgy dude. If you can remember earlier, the angry guy had it, the one who just wanted to fight everybody and had ice swords. Him using that weapon is basically a big fuck you to everybody who sees him. It's kind of like carrying around... What's even a close... It's like... It's like being proud of the fact you're a pedophile or something is what that guy's doing. You know, it's not wholesome whatsoever. You don't want to be associated with that character. He does deserve whatever comes to him for doing it. Boy, that's a weird stance to take. Anyway. Talking for extended periods of time make you say some weird shit. Don't worry about it too much. The views and beliefs I am expressing aren't necessarily my own. I feel like I'm apologizing for pedophiles. I'm just having a bad time with my ideas right now. So in this zone, the people in the pods are... they're the prisoners you saw up here, who do with the fists. Prisoners aren't that strong, so I don't worry about it too much. I think the alien archives have the hardest enemy in the pods overall. Over here we find Prisoner 1. So I'm just going to spoil this lore because it doesn't really matter too much. Prisoner 1 he's like a sane dude, and he's a pretty cool dude overall as well. He was trying to stage an uprising against the fascist government, which the Immortal Planet was being dictated by, the psykers, who, as you can remember from earlier, worship the planet as a god. He was trying to stop all that. He wasn't that strong, so he got his ass beat pretty hard and put in prison. Now he went insane, he wants to fight you. I think he also took some roids in there because he's way bigger than he should be. Just overall, he's a dangerous dude. You want to be careful around him. Probably the second best boss fight in the game, I guess, if I had to rank them. There's only 5, so it's not saying much. But he dashes forward, and he has a sword. He's basically a big version of the psychic enemies you fought in the, what's the name of that zone? The Archives. So he does that, then he dashes around. As you get him lower and lower, he has more phases. That dash back move is actually the beginning of a bunch of different moves he can do. For example, fireballs, stuff like that. As long as you're blocking properly, he's fine. So now he can do some more stuff. I'm hopefully not going to let him do too much more stuff, but I'll try and show off his moves at least once. Okay, so yeah, so he has the fire trail. A lot of enemies in this game have that one. It's a good ability, I guess, but let's just do this. Do this. Pop you back in here. Pop this again. Yeah. So apart from the fire trail, he also has secret orbs, which I'll show off in a second. Yikes. Leave me my name, please. Yep, secret orbs. What they do is, as you get close to them, they go into you, and that's a bad time. As you can see from my accident there. So I'll do this real quick. I'll block this. Hopefully he'll dash back. Firebeam. Nope, secret orbs. Let's do this. Pop some health. 1, 2, 3. Pop that. You want to avoid the fire. Isn't very good for your feet. Secret orbs do disappear reversely. How about that? So the stamina system in this game is pretty good. You can pretty easily see it underneath their health bar. They actually do stop attacking as much if their stamina is low, which means they do follow the same rules you do, which is something I always very much appreciate in games. I think that's all of his moves. I don't think I missed anything. Prisoner 1 is actually a decently difficult boss fight for the most part. I just sort of had a very good run there. I think that's the first time I've beaten him without having to respawn once. Anyway, we're going to go up here. We'll find some more prisoners. These are the other prisoners. As you could remember from earlier, they eat poison to keep them asleep. Because of that, they sort of throw up on you. If you could demonstrate for me, my good man. There you go. They throw up on you now because they ate too much poison. This is a bad time. I think if you take a certain amount of damage, you lose your... I'm not sure why I'm doing it like this. You open up this pod and all these open up. And you can't actually go to your health pod until all the enemies are gone. So that's that. I think this has a poison raid in it, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep, Toxin Bomb. I think this is overpowered as fuck, but I can't remember. Probably is. Most things in this game are pretty overpowered. More agility as always. If they're dying faster, that's good for me, I think. You just want the stamina more than anything. Dashing is pretty useful in this game. If you saw armor earlier, this is a flat reduction, how much damage you take. The Ironspine gives you 10 to begin with, so I'm not focusing on it too much, but that's the main appeal of endurance. As well as giving you health and stamina, the two best stats in the game. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. And they're done. So if I was doing a magic run, for example, this would be looking very differently. With magic runs, for the most part, you're just being very careful to not... what's the word? To not overuse your resources, because you don't actually regain any of your spells as the fight goes on. There is one item in the game which lets you get extra stacks of each of your spells, but that's the same thing. You're starting off with a bigger base. So we just got the secret orbs, which the dude was using earlier. He is a psyker himself. He was the original leader of the cult before the people who worship the planet as a god took over. And now he's having a bit of a less good time because... talking about Prisoner 1 here. Having a bit of a less good time because he's in prison and insane. Not a very good combination. Anyway, Secret Orbs is one of the abilities he had, and we just got that. So, I think I should have done this afterwards, probably. So, over here, this is a trick the game's playing on you. You want to use these platforms here. That take damage. God damn it. Once you do this, this thing opens up. I recommend going forward first because you'll spawn a bunch of enemies in. 2, 3... The enemies are a bit bullshit. If you do it after your challenge, you're almost assuredly going to die, so just avoid that embarrassment early on, and you'll probably have a better time. This one doesn't have that many hard enemies, so let me think. Does it have a psyker? I don't think it does. This one isn't very difficult, so I'm just going to do this straight up. I think I might lose my stack very easily here, though, because of how much poison is going to be thrown around. Yeah. These guys aren't very difficult, but they do attack a lot, and that's a bit of a tough bargain for this item here. Again, I haven't actually used this weapon before, in any capacity really, I just know it's very strong. Yeah, no, not very difficult. Just gonna take care of this guy, straight up. Leave me my name, please. Just pick away at these boys. Hopefully take less damage in the process too. Stamina is everything here. There is a few stamina restoring items in this game, which are actually pretty strong. I think they require some other stats, and I just want to put points in agility, so I'm not going to bother them too much. But they do make the game even easier. Yikes! Oh, okay, alright. That does happen sometimes. There is almost no invulnerability in this game, so you do get comboed very, very quickly sometimes. Yikes. Yeah, that's rough. Nothing else about that, it's just rough. 3 hits and you're down. 400 is a decent amount of damage to be doing this early on. The run I won the other day, like last week or something, I was only doing 68 damage per hit, so this is a very high objective upgrade. Just gonna play a bit more properly. Once you get a bit bigger numbers going, you get pretty... There's a lot of hubris involved, because you feel like you can just hit everybody to death and it's fine. Generally speaking, you should play smart when you can. So be careful with these dudes as well. For another reason is that they can actually soft lock your game because they're assholes. If you're fighting those fist enforcers near a those cuffed prisoners near a laser light, like as you saw earlier with the, I'll show you in the next area, like the literal next room from this one has it. But if you fight them near lasers and they punch you over them, you're going to be locked in that area forever because the game is auto-saving at every second, as opposed to having like a save file system. Honestly, I think it would be better if the game just had like, if you're at a save point, we'll save your game for you. But I guess, yikes, dude, calm down. Just gonna pop some pills, and then this might kill him here. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's you. Down to clown. Two for the price of one there. There you go. The charge moves are pretty easy to just go in a straight line. Just like get out of the way. It's pretty simple. 1, 2, 3. Is there a third wave? There is. Okay. These guys are very simple. I'm not sure why they're seen as the all-star enemies of this area. I really hope I don't die to them after saying that, because that would be pretty embarrassing. I know there's a lot of hubris that goes into feeling like you can beat a game in about 2 hours and put it up on YouTube. Yeah, they're not very difficult. This level has the easiest challenge by far out of all of them, I think. You have acid? Okay. Alright. I didn't know you did that. Good on you, buddy. 2, 3, 4. And that's some more blood viscosity. You can have a potential of 10 blood viscosity in nightmare mode, and I think like 8 or 7 in normal mode. I'm going to try and hit the cap of 7, which will be pretty good, I think. You have to do something called the ultimate challenge to get all 7, and I'm pretty well on the way to getting the ultimate challenge now, so it shouldn't be too hard. Ultimate challenge is pretty challenging though, as implied by the name, and I will probably allude on that a bit more later. My stamina and attack's getting pretty high, so that's pretty good. You want this bar to be all the way over there at the end of it, basically. I think endurance gives the best bang for your buck in terms of stats by far. So if you're not confident with how you're playing the game, damage doesn't matter too much for the most part. Just put all your points into endurance. You'll get health, you'll get stamina, you'll get armor. It'll make it a lot harder to kill you, and you'll die less. There you go. 5 pips, good blood viscosity. I think you can just sprint and you're fine. Not quite enough. So those dudes are actually asking you for help when they vomit on you, but all they can really do is vomit because that's their only way of asking for help. That's why they don't actually swing at you, because they're really disabled, and it's just a sad story overall. Disabled as in impaired, as in they can't move, as opposed to the type I was probably implying with the way I said it. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool stories for enemies in this game like that. So I got the drain spell there. It drains people. There you go. These guards here are actually brought up by the psyker authority. It means the prison isn't actually really a prison. It's more like it's a political prison. The people here don't actually need to be here. They're just there because they disagree with the fascist government. And these dudes are like really hyper-trained guards that they brought up. They don't actually have any free will or anything like most of the immortals here. Most proper immortals have like free will and good stuff like that, but these dudes are pretty generic as far as that goes. So let's pop this. Just gonna try and... Yikes. Alright, let's get out of this corner real quick. Do this, do this, do this. These guys are pretty hard in pairs. Yikes. Ooh, alright. Yep. That happened. Man, I was seriously thinking I could do this entire thing without dying once, except maybe to the twins. Alright. Okay, let's just go back. What we do here is go back. Is there much else to say about the prison? I don't think so. I think that's about that. Oh my god, game. Please don't do me dirty like this. Really? Okay, I'm just gonna... Yep. Let's just play it safe. You can't hold to... What's the word? In the middle of a combo, you can hold to... what's the word? I wouldn't say feint. You can hold to try and mix up your opponents if they're blocking. Or to try and time a parry correctly. But for the most part, it's more annoying when they do it than as compared to when you do it. I just tend to avoid that for the most part. Enemies do also get stuck in you sometimes, is another thing to note. A lot of stuff to note. That's not many, you know, not a very salient point. No very well-organized structure to this video overall, but hopefully it's conveying some sort of meaning. Let's get this here. Oh! You're a fucker. Get out of here. Gotta pop this now so I don't have to do this again. So easiest way of doing this part, I think, is to get on this corner here. Then just wait for one to pounce. And just bop him over. And he's gonna hit you too, and then you're done. It's probably what I should have done in the first place, but I don't know, man. Can't remember the entire thing off by heart. So this is the exact area I was talking about earlier for the soft locking thing. You want to be very careful around this area. Basically, if you see over here how there's these lasers, if a fisticuff using enemy knocks you behind them, your game will save there and you'll be locked there forever. So you want to make sure you bring a way to kill yourself if you do get locked in that way. Or just like avoid it altogether. Like you can get soft locked here as well. I'm not sure why this... Not sure what the dev was thinking having so many of these fisticuff enemies in an area where it's very easy to get behind a laser beam, but I don't know, man. So, block. When they enter half health, so you do gotta feel bad for these poison guys. All they're doing is asking for help, but it's a bit rough. Anyway, let's go here. Getting worse and worse with my parrying. He'll appear behind me, and this is where I soft locked my game earlier. Luckily this was like the first zone I tried to do, so I only lost about 20 minutes of progress, but if you get them to like this point here, they do this rush thing, and if that happens while you're next to a laser beam, you'll get like pushed back behind it, and then the game will be locked forever, and you'll have to make a new save file. So do avoid that if at all you can. So we're just going to skate by this room as well. It's pretty basic. It has a shortcut back to your save point though, your cryopod, which I'll show off in a second, which you definitely want to take because this game is this zone rather has a very long path back to your save point. So if you die at this boss, which you most likely will, it's a hard boss fight, it can end up very poorly for you. Anyway. So as you can see, I took a bit of damage there because I didn't block it perfectly. For most bosses, if you're not parrying perfectly, they're doing a lot of damage to you. Or doing a lot of damage to your stamina, and you can't really hit them back. Anyway, let's talk to this guy real quick. This dismembered guard, he's one of the last few people who is lucid, and is one of the only NPCs who doesn't try and kill you, apart from the lone psyker when he sees you. Somebody threw acid on him, and he's having a bad time. A very bad time, in fact. He's going to be here suffering forever with the acid. We can't kill him. That might be the humane thing to do, but he's basically the same. Prisoner 1's having a party in the other room, and you really, really want to try and take him out before he does a bunch of bad shit to your neighborhood here. I'm just gonna go over here and open this up as well. I'm gonna show you one of the many occurrences of bullshit in this game. So if you see over here, right, you have to walk past here to get to the secret pathway, and it doesn't actually show you at any point there's going to be a pathway here, but If you don't know about this, it's going to take ages and ages to walk back, so just make sure you open this up as quickly as you can. The area after this one has a lot more bullshit than that as far as like hidden stairs go. And for the time being, this is what we're going to get. Let's do this. I keep messing up the parry. Anyway, come on. Come on, buddy. Hit me with something. There you go. Alright. Let's top up before we go into the boss. It's the same boss fight as earlier, but now there's these pins everywhere. These pin needle traps. Spike traps? What do you even call these? Not really a name for them. Anyway, he shoots laser beams and seeker orbs from the very beginning this time around, so you want to be very careful. Especially if you're using the thing I'm using, which is not very good when it comes to fire. So for some reason, in this game, dodging psyker moves is a lot more difficult than dodging physical moves. So if you're fighting a boss like this, for example, who's shooting laser beams and stuff, it's a lot harder to get them to give you the stamina boost than it is for a normal enemy like the commander or something. I lost a lot of health just there. I should stop talking as much. In general, really. Okay, you can calm down. Okay, you can... Alright, thank you. I appreciate your patronage. That's basically how this boss fight goes. You take one hit and then you die almost immediately. Health doesn't help that much because he combos you pretty hard. My only real advice, if I can give any, is to try and keep him in the center, outside towards the ring. So you stay in the center, he goes in the ring, and it should be fine from there. Acid, really? I'm gonna die here. I am gonna die here. That's embarrassing. I think if I had no souls to lose, I don't actually lose my marker from before. At least hopefully I don't, because I want that for the heal in the boss fight. But yeah, enemies in this game don't do a small amount of damage. It's gonna take this guy out first. There you go. There won't be many chances to top up in this fight either, so let's just pop this healing real quick. I think it should still be in here, the souls. No, okay. I'm a big liar, don't worry about it. God, I hate that. Oh, quickly. Alright. You're a fucker. He almost shot a laser beam at me. Perfect powering is getting harder and harder by a second. Guarding, rather. Powering is a different thing in this game. That's always a bit, not confusing, rather, but it's always a bit stupid when there's two different terms for a very similar thing. Especially in games like this. I guess I'm the one coming up with the nomenclature in the first place, so it's a bit silly to complain about that, but... I'm just gonna ice, try and get past a few phases. Because he's starting off with everything this time around, there's very little reason not to just immediately wail on him like this. Seeker orbs, he's probably gonna rush me, or throw another fire orb. He does hurt himself with his own fire. That's an interesting thing to note, I guess. So this should be about it. 1, 2, 3. Nope, not even close. Very far away from it being about it. Oh man, that's a bad area to be in. Thank you for rushing at me. Bang. So I did say the ceremonial pistol is one of the better weapons in the game, or better items in the game. I definitely do think that because it has a very, very quick starting up animation, and it can basically lock enemies out of every single move they're about to do. I should have used that more in this boss fight with this fire orb, but I'm not very confident with that, so take what you can get, I guess. Yeah, he's a bit of a fucker. It's gonna kill you a few times. Not much you can do about that, I don't think. So let's talk about to the guard again. I can't remember if you have something new to say. Yeah. So we haven't actually killed him, but he's immortal is the point, right? So he's gonna come back angrier than ever. And the cryopod takes a while to respawn as well, so the guard's going to be fine for at least a little while, which is good. He's going to be covered in acid for a long time though, and probably dying in a lot of pain for the rest of his living life, which is going to be forever as well because he's immortal. But we did do it. We did do a good job overall. I'm going to go over here. We're actually nearing the end of the game now. There's only one zone left after this. One zone left and one secret that we have to worry about. This one's a bit more annoying than I thought it would be. I thought this weapon would make it a bit of a cinch, but honestly, not as fun as you would first think. Anyway. Now I have to go all the way back. No teleporting or anything of that variety. Backtracking doesn't take too long, so it's fine. I think I can just do this, so it's fine. If I want to save even more time. So yeah, this guy really, these enemies in particular really go ham on you. Alright, well that's the prison done. Not much else to say about it. Prisoner 1 did nothing wrong. What's that guy's name again? Crap, I should remember this. Yeah, is it Bobby Shmurda? Yeah, Bobby Shmurda Innocent. Don't ever forget. I think he's getting released this year, isn't he? Anyway, yeah, Bobby Shmurda Innocent, boys. Prisoner 1 Innocent. We're gonna keep going, go to the Lost Zone, and hopefully beat the game from there. The Lost Zone is by far the hardest, which is why I did the Lost. A nice little thing to do is that the enemies back here again at the end. This guy's probably going to kill you the first time you're going to fight him because he is pretty quick on the draw. As you can see, very powerful enemy. Alright, easy enough. I can't remember if there's a... I think there is actually an enemy in the front gate, so I probably should heal up a little bit. I don't think the Frozen Archivist has anything new to say when you go back to him, so I'm just going to keep going this way. We're probably going to be using magic a lot more in this section because the basic enemies here are very difficult. So this dude here, for example, is probably harder than a lot of boss fights in other areas. Not that hard, mind you, but difficult. Pretty difficult. He leaves acid anywhere. He leaves acid everywhere, excuse me. Oh, Wakemare, what an edgy fucking name. He leaves acid everywhere, he attacks very quickly, and he is, generally speaking, quite hard to fight. That's fine though, because we're in the next area. Here's the same old boy again. So this guy's talking about defining your purpose, free will, and all of that jazz. He's very anti-authoritarian is what you'll see if you keep talking to him. For example, he's like anti-self-determination now as well, kind of destiny-based. He's cool though, he's a cool character. You don't really see him much in this version of the game. In Nightmare, he has a pretty big starring role. I can't level up. Let's just get out. 1 second. Alright, I think I've gotten every item so far. If I've forgotten anything, I apologize, I guess. There's not really anybody to call me out on it, so I've probably forgotten something. These guys are pretty good because they give you 400 EXP, and they're very easy to kill. It's like, slice this guy real quick. Oh, okay, that's... sure. The thing with this level is that acid dripping everywhere. The fortress is a bad place you don't want to be, generally speaking. So, an enemy should spawn over there if I'm remembering correctly, and he does. Come at me. Alright. And okay. And there you go. So these guys over here are really hard. These are probably the hardest basic enemies in the game. What this dude does is he shoots fireballs at you, teleports away, does it very quickly. So you really want to get on top of him very quickly, otherwise he's going to combo you to death. Yeah, Cult Soldier are probably the hardest enemy in the game. So I just got the Cryo Bomb. Cryo Bomb is the ice shard, but for... Oh yeah, and they also spawn out of the gateways in this one. You're really going to learn to hate these guys by the end of it. They're not very tanky, is the one good thing about them, I guess. And they do give a lot of EXP. But yeah, they're just generally sucky. Much harder than they have any right to be. So as I was saying earlier, the cryo bomb is the same thing as the ice shard, but it's an item slot rather than a spell slot. Here we're approaching one of the best characters in the game. Oh, this fucker. Let's get rid of you real quick. Really? Okay. That's unfortunate, is what that is. So this guy over here is the third separatist. This is the Traveler. Traveler's a cool dude. I quite like the Traveler. He also has the coolest gun in the game. The Traveler is basically a historian who left because of curiosity. He invents things. Names are talking about curiosity right there. This guy's a bit of a less of an edgy or an angry boy, and he's more obsessed with the idea of getting knowledge. But he's been living for such a long time and doing it for such a long time that he's become sort of, what's the word? Disillusioned with everything. Leave me be or be destroyed. Like he isn't the same kind of malicious as the other two. This guy is genuinely just like a cool character. He hits you a lot though. I haven't actually fought this man very much. I missed him completely the first time I played this game. But he's easy to fight too. Same thing as always. This is probably the best build in the game, if I had to wager a guess. Anyway, very unceremoniously killed. He has the gun axe, the coolest gun in the game. For the most part, the Separatists, I don't worry too much about turning their attacks off because they're basically just you. They have your same moveset. They just like dash and parry and stuff. Oh my god. So, I really wish there was some kind of fucking invulnerability in this game for a second. But there really isn't. I'm just going to show the weapon off real quick because, again, coolest one in the game by far. You can only get 7 in a normal run because you didn't pick the 2 in the beginning. So the gun axe is this cool-ass scythe axe thing which you can awaken to use this very powerful fire shot attack. It burns you a little bit when you use it, which is kind of weird and not very good overall, but it's a cool gun. The lore implies, or rather just probably frankly states, that our boy the Traveler from 10 seconds ago is the one who made it. Again, he isn't actually a fighter, he's more of an inventor. You don't really get the idea of there being societal roles in general. But, yeah, no, there's stuff going on with the society. It's going to run really quickly and hopefully kill this guy before his friend shows up. There you are. Your mom's dad. There you go. And let me just pin you this way and you're done. I'll fight the Awake Mirror again as well. Fuck it. So he throws a fireball. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. I don't really need the extra health, I don't think. So I was talking earlier about this level's boss fight. It's the worst boss. He fucking sucks. Twins are horrible. The reason they're horrible is because it's a spellcaster AoE boss in a game which is very focused on like precision dueling. So it's just not a very. Oh, I'm dumb. I lost a lot of EXP just there. Yeah, it's instant death if you go off the corners. Fuck. Shit. Alright. Doesn't really change anything. The run's going well enough without needing any more levels. But that's a bit sucky. I'm having a bad time all of a sudden. Let's just go over here. Ice shard into this, into this. Regen enough stamina there. 2, 3, 4. These guys take a lot of hits. Have a lot of armor. Alright. Fight the Awake Mirror real quick. They also teleport a lot, so you can't really fight them from a range stance either. Yeah, Awake Mirrors suck. They're not fun. Can you knock them off ledges at the very least? Yes, you can. Makes them a bit better. Alright. Here we are. It's okay. This area gives you so much EXP for almost no reason. It's a pity I lost all the experience from killing the Traveler, because they always give 2,000, which is a lot. Very few things in this game give more than 500, so... Yeah, a bit of a faux pas on my part, but that's fine. Hello? Hello. Very good. There you go. There you go. Is there anything in this area? No, not really. Just a healing pot. This awake mirror here is a bit of a fucker. The awake mirrors are very powerful from a a distance. So you want to do your best to keep them pinned in. They have 2 or 3 attacks, which all do a shit ton of damage for almost no reason. I don't know why this level's theme is acid. This game plays a lot on the themes of fire and ice. I haven't really showed you off much to any fire, but the idea is that all the psychic stuff, which that's all the fire stuff we're seeing so far has been come from the psykers, which are the group which sort of overtook the society on this planet, which is, you know, revering ice as a god with the cryopods and everything. So the idea behind ice and fire is that fire is the new, it's the force of change that sort of ruined everything which they had going for them. And ice is the sacred but old. It's a lot less powerful. Well, actually, it's a lot more powerful in my opinion, but it's a lot less widespread in a lot of ways too. The fire and ice theme gets played off a bit more in the next couple boss fights. Does it actually? Not as much as you would hope so, I think. Anyway. Murmuring to myself. Fucking die, buddy. Yeah, I don't like awake mirrors at all. They're a hard enemy. Why was I even over here? Yes, because if you... Okay. So, what you want to do here is parry, block. Most of the enemies in this... parry, block, dash, rather. All of the enemies in this area are pretty easy to kill. All of these enemies in this area are pretty easy to kill because they always spawn next to ledges. Yeah. There you go. So you can just parry it immediately and then just knock them off without any hassle whatsoever. I need to remember to use my stim pack afterwards. Anyway. I think it's called a stim pack. I can't remember. There you go. Takes a bit. I don't think we'll have an opportunity to go back to base before the next boss fight, but next boss fight's pretty bullshit. It's the less bullshit of the 2 most bullshit boss fights in the game, which are the same person twice. You know what, I might go back and actually level up a little. 8200's probably like 4 or 5 agility. It might mean I'll win when I might otherwise not. Anyway, there you go. So generally speaking, if I want to do something in this game like very specific, I'll just go to this area and like knock people off ledges for about 2 or 3 minutes to get an absurd amount of EXP. I could easily get to as high level as I am right now, just knocking people off cliffs for like 5 minutes max. This level is incredibly generous with the EXP you get, especially considering how easy these guys are after just taking a hit from him, after almost dying to him. Jeez. For the most part, if they use their dash move on you, really? I don't really want to do that game. Alright. If they do this on you, and then they do this on you, just sort of take care of them in one fell swoop. I shouldn't need too many stim packs for this next part, because the boss fight doesn't really give you many opportunities to use stim packs. One tip I have here is like dash quickly and get to the next point as fast as you can, because the psyker is on that side. And he will jump on you if he gets the opportunity. Anyway, here we are at the twins. As you can see, there's 2 heads there. He has no moves you can parry, so for the most part, you just gotta sort of wail on him at a distance. Just tap, tap, move, tap, tap. Yeah, he's a bit of a fucker. Like, he just keeps doing AoE moves over and over again. The reason he's hard is because every single phase he gets a new move, and each move is harder than the last. For example, laser beams here. In phase 2, he does that for 2 reps, and they come out very quickly. So he's just a bit of a bastard, really. There's nothing else to him. And also, even if you stun him, the laser beam still comes out, so he's just annoying. You can't knock him out with the lasers, though, because they, for whatever reason, cost a lot of stamina to do, I guess. So this is where he starts doing 2 reps. Teleports, I'll show you. Got the ice off there, so it's fine. This is actually going very well. This is the best twins fight I've had probably ever. Yikes. And he does 2 of those. Luckily the ice takes care of him. So as you can see, he was channeling there randomly. I'm just going to let it happen this time around, but it's probably the worst part of this fight by a margin. Okay, no laser beams yet. Or rather, many laser beams yet, but you'll see in a second. So 1, 2, 3. He hasn't done it yet, surprisingly. Maybe he has to get a bit lower on health. Yeah, maybe. Really? Okay, game. Is that it? Nope. Not quite. Yeah, 3 reps because he's in phase 3. There you go. I think it's here, maybe? Not quite. He does it soon. I don't want him to do it, but he's gonna do it soon because he's a fucker. Seriously, is he not doing it normal or something? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's only a nightmare. Huh. Alright, well, I look like a fool now. That's fine. Yeah, I'm even giving him time to do it, but he's not. Huh. Sure, buddy? You wanna... Okay. See ya. Alright, well, that's the twins. He definitely does it in phase 2, and I'll show that off. But... what happens when you get him on his last... I think it might just be... Because I think they add an attack in for every character in Nightmare mode. But in Nightmare mode, what happens is on his last bar, he has these orbiting lasers around him, which are very close to his body. So you basically have to be right up next to him to actually get your swings off. Otherwise, you get hit by a laser beam, and you lose a ton of health for it as well. And I have found a glitch, which I've exploited to make it so I don't have to bother with that too much. It's a lot more annoying in the second boss fight than it is in this one. But what he does is he makes this laser around himself when it swoops around, and it makes it very hard to fight him because most of his moves are very close-based AoEs. So here's this thing I figured out like last time I played this game. You can sort of dash over and pick this up when you're not supposed to. There's almost no benefit to this whatsoever, but this is one of the strongest spells in the game, for sure. Pyrokinesis. And it's basically the circle explosion thing he was using on me earlier. And it's pretty good. Anyway. So if I remember correctly, there should be an item down there. Nope. Yep, this guy's a fucker. There you go. Do this. Bang, bang. There you go. Yeah. From here on out, the enemies themselves aren't going to offer too much of an issue. There isn't any zones where it's like you're fighting 8 of these fuckers, so that's fine. I might even not awaken my weapon until the next part to knock people off. And then Cryokinesis is the best spell in the game. Cryokinesis is the upgraded version of this spell I have here, Ice Shard. It's a decent bit stronger. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother. There you go. You open up a shortcut in a second anyway, so it's fine. Another Awake Mare. I'm just gonna chain you in here. There you go. Is there much to say about the fortress that I'm forgetting? The fortress is like where the government used to be, I guess. This is Parliament. So yeah, here's one of the bullshit things I was talking about. This is where the next challenge is, and that's really, really fucking dumb. So basically what you have to do is you have to dash across here to find the challenge. It's completely hidden. There's no way to find this apart from almost accidentally falling or having that enemy glitch over. That glitch over thing happens very rarely. It happened almost immediately here. Almost despite the content, because I wanted to show off how stupid this is. Anyway, this is where the last challenge is. Remember this zone's challenge not being too difficult, but I'm going to get to that in a second instead. What we're going to do instead is we're going to go next to this room. This is a pretty secret room, which you're not likely to see. on a typical run. Should be fine. 1, 2, there you go. So this entire thing's gimmick is that like it's a bit fucky, I guess, is its gimmick. There's no wake mirror there too, then you have to dash over and you can get the item like this. I think this is blood drain if I remember correctly. Yeah, blood steal. You steal life, it's not too complicated. There you go. And this area opens up the path back to your, I think it's here? Yeah, there you go. See what I mean? I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't want the fucking stress of missing a jump every single time, game. You gotta calm down a little bit. Alright, let's go back here. And this will lead back to the path we were on before. If you remember, there's a psyker here. What we do here, I don't really need the health, so I'm just gonna dash forward. And then this should open up a path between here or here, I think. Yeah. And now it's very easy to get back home. The room we were in before we took this little detour was the room next to the boss fight. So I'm just going to quickly go back, get all my stuff back, and put some more points in agility, and then we'll fight the second to last boss in the game. The last boss is almost immediately after this one as well, but we will be taking a small detour to show you the ultimate challenge, which is a pretty cool little challenge if I do say so myself. I would rate it pretty highly. Anyway, we're going to keep going. Wait, what the hell am I doing? God. I'm not sure how long I've been recording for now. It could be years for all I know, but I'm trying my best. That's the important part, I think. So, oh wait, no, I fucked up. Yeah, no, there's a much better secret path back. It's okay, we unlocked one of the shortcuts. That's the important part. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll show you the other shortcut in a second. So we can take this shortcut here to temporarily move back faster. It's not that much faster, actually. I think it's about the same amount of time taken. You know, maybe it's a little bit faster. I'm not going to be pedantic about this. No one cares. It's a path we can take. Harder enemies for sure, though. Anyway, I'm just going to fire my gun at him. Wake him up. There you go. There you go. There's a better shortcut in a second, so I'm going to use my spells again. Alright, here we are. But this path here basically leads back. It doesn't quite lead back, you have to make a dash of faith again. I'm not a fan of that. Frankly, just not a fan. Anyway. Parry. Parry, and you're done. The game sort of played itself after a while. I'm just here being the talking head, it's fine. Alright. Fight me, or... Alright. There you go. There you go. Alright. So yeah, this game typically takes about 6 hours to beat. I'm not sure how long it's been going for now. You'll have a better idea at home than I will. I think it's only been like an hour and a half. I don't know, it might be 3 hours. I've been playing for a while. I haven't done a recording session this long in a very long time. At least not with a friend anyway. At least not by myself anyway, rather. I've been playing a recording session this long with a friend. Anyway, here's another robot. There's plenty of these around. This is a psyker robot. This one's a doubting cultist. He's attached to a cryopod because that's what you do here. He's been awake for a very, very long time, and now he realizes the cult he's a part of is maybe not the best. He's asking you to restore cycles as well. The idea behind the twins is they actually put Prisoner 1 into the prison. The huge cult had Prisoner 1 as the leader, and the twins were the second in commands, respectively. And they had an uprising when he tried to put a break on the whole worshiping the planet thing. This here's a little secret, I guess, or a little hint. You go back here, this opens up this door, and you can almost immediately walk back on the path here. You'll notice I got into this area before I should have been able to. If you could walk all the way through without having to go through that entire area by dashing there, it might have some use, but frankly, it's just a bit of a meme I found. Anyway, so the twins are bad dudes. They've taken over the planet. They're mostly responsible for what's happening here. Although in many ways it is inevitable what's occurred in this game, which I will explain in the last 4 or 5 minutes now. I feel like I've been signposting the entire time with, I will eventually explain what's happening here, but for the most part it's good. It's alright. So I don't think I have to fight an enemy. I think I have to fight one enemy before I can get back. We're just going to quickly... This isn't a hard boss fight, but it is an annoying boss fight. If it doesn't go well, I will need to, what's the word? Use a lot of health packs, basically. So we're going to fight the psyker here again because he guarantees that you get these two things here. I feel like I trivialize a lot of these enemies. Trust me, they do fuck you over quite a bit. They're not as easy as they look. Anyway, did I take damage? I must have. Here's where the second to last boss in the game is. And you go in, and you'll see the twins, but there's only one of them. In fact, there's not only one of them. It's actually two people in one body for some reason. So the reason this is annoying is because this guy does his spells the entire time whilst you are fighting this little boy here. And he's very annoying. He's very, very annoying. As you can see, this gets out of hand very quickly. This one doesn't have that much health, is the one respite you get from the bullshit that is this boss fight, but yeah, it takes a while. It takes a while, it's annoying, you have to avoid a lot of stuff. This is a very easy boss fight if you have lightfoot, because every time, this guy's psychic blade is very easy to dodge. So if you dodge it perfectly every single time, you get all your stamina back and you can just keep keeping at it. You can just keep keeping at it, there you go. And that's how that goes, yeah, it's fucking annoying. You can't really do anything. The other dude has 3 health bars as well, so it's a bit hard to focus on him. So generally speaking, I focus on the younger twin. The one thing which is kind of shit though is after beating the younger twin, he'll spawn those death lasers I talked about earlier. There's a trick to that, which I did mention earlier, but we're not going to bother too much with it. I want to show it off at least once. I'm not sure what what's the word? I'm not sure what the point of this video is. It's very long, and I wouldn't say it's taking much effort. I'm just sort of sitting here, moving my mouth, but yeah, I don't know. I know. I don't have any idea whatsoever. Tell you what, I'm not gonna burger after this though. I'm getting very hungry. You know your brain uses 20% of your energy? That's fucking absurd. Imagine the average Rick and Morty fan's brain. Oof. Old jokes for old boys. I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I forgot to awaken my weapon. That's... okay. Now let's not take any damage ever again. I'm gonna go to the other side. Dodge this. Can you teleport, please? See what I mean? Like, there's some moments where you just can't do anything, and that's a bit annoying. You know what? I might just do this here and fight you like this. Yikes. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. Okay. Alright. Pop a stem. Oh, God. Frankly, just not a fan. Wait for the fire. Even when you feel like you avoid it, you don't avoid it sometimes. It's just awful. I do love complaining though, that's the good part. The burden I took onto myself. And you see, like, it'll just kill you immediately even if you have the Sentinel's heart. It's just, nah. This fight's a bit trivially easy if you're doing a mage build because you can just stack all your spells on top of the other twin while you run around the first one. So the younger twin's the one who had the psychic sword. In the lore, the older twin is a malicious evil dude, and the younger twin's very charismatic and he's very trusting of his brother. And he just uses the vocal piece. The older twin, which is the one who has the 3 health bars, which I guess makes sense thematically, is the actual big deal. And And this boss fight isn't any easier if you have more health. If they get a lock on you, you're basically done. Which, not very enjoyable. Not very enjoyable. So, let's keep at it. This one might take a few attempts. Hopefully it won't, but I'm not going to give any promises. I might just do the old reliable. God. Yeah, there's so little you can do about this fucking boss fight. Just awful. You haven't shot a fireball at me for a while, buddy. Everything okay? Hopefully he glitched out. That would be ideal. Let me just fight this man by myself. Get him back in there. Yeah, he isn't. Okay, this could be very easy all of a sudden. And for all the wrong reasons. I think the boss fight glitched out, and I'm completely okay with that. Yeah, but suffice to say, if you're trying to beat it normally, it's awful. It's awful. This is the worst. Bad mark in an otherwise pretty unblemished game, I guess. So you kill this guy here. What happens there is... Oh, okay. What happens there is... this boy over here is going to spawn a... Oh, actually he won't because I glitched him out of it. Okay. Yeah, alright. That's unfortunate. What happens is you... If you shoot him with your pistol or something at the exact moment, then... if you shoot him with a pistol at the exact right moment, then you'll lock him out of it, and he won't be able to go through the animation. But he does orbiting death lasers. This boss fight's hard enough without the orbiting death lasers. I'm just gonna be a bit of a bitch, but yeah. Again, just take my word for it. You don't want to deal with it. It's kind of awful. Man, it like really strikes me with how much I could be lying, because I have such a small audience, and no one fucking... Sorry, this game has such a small audience, and no one's gonna watch this video in the first place, so there's almost... No one exists to quick correct me. I am technically the foremost authority on Immortal Planet. Anyway. Yeah, this is same as before. No real fun lockdown combos, just gotta keep dodging. It's pretty easy with the amount of stamina I have. If you're going for a more... I think strength is almost objectively worse than agility, because I think stamina is so much better than being able to tank a hit. Enemies in this game do a ludicrous amount of damage. It doesn't almost doesn't matter how much you can tank. Plus, like, if you're faster, it's a lot easier, because like a lot of these hitboxes, if you don't have the stamina for it, there's no way of actually avoiding them. I think willpower is by far the worst stat, at the very least. A willpower run is you're basically just using willpower to get the prerequisites for a bunch of good spells in the game. And intelligence has a lot more spells locked behind it, so it's not very good overall. Okay. That's that. And one's for good measure. So, you know how we kept asking about restoring the cycles or whatever? This is the priest hand. You know how they keep going, oh, we have to restore the cycles. This over here is actually a huge computer, which is supposed to fix the cycles. As you can see, there's these time dials to show time. I hope that's effective for you at home. The twins made it into the throne room and they fucked up the computer, so we can't actually restore the cycles, and this has all been a fool's errand. I'll go do the thing which sort of shows that off in a second. But we're very near the end of the game now. In fact, we're basically at it. No reason to do anything here. We're going to talk to the groggy priest again. I don't think I've ever done that before. Okay. So, he's talking about the planet. Okay, yeah, okay. I speak of the planet, of course. So the psykers tap into this field to get energy to use the power they have. And it's linked to dreams and all that good stuff. Dreams and creativity and magic. And the planet's really, really cold, right? So as the reason the game got so much controversy is because of the good ending, bad ending thing again, which I talked about earlier on. Originally, the game's good ending was you were supposed to find out that the crazy shit that psykers were talking about the entire time about the planet being alive is very much real, and the planet is alive, and it's spreading the disease of immortality to everybody. I'm going to show you something in a second to back that up a little bit. A lot of levels there. Nice. We're going to be needing those because this next bit's going to be very difficult. I need to grab the decoy so I can show it off, but yeah. Oh man. I got to sneeze, but this ain't coming out. Just the worst. Anyway, there's a bunch of hints at this point in the game about where the last level is, where you want to go. For now, let me just show off the other thing, actually. I get ahead of myself a lot with this overall. Here's the Sleepless Outcast again. He's going to say, what are you doing here? Everybody's immortal. You have very little reason to be doing anything you're doing. Don't descend. And you ask, what do you mean, don't descend? And he's asking about it being cold. Yeah, anyway, the planet's really cold. It's also alive. It's a very wrathful god. And it gives all the people on the planet the gift of immortality, but it isn't quite immortality. It's more like immortality at the cost of going really, really crazy. So the original ship's forefathers, the original planet's forefathers, all came from this ship. And the idea behind that is that I shouldn't actually have walked in here. Yeah, that's fine. So this is a cool little way to show off how far you've gone. You know, you're doing a lot of damage now. Basically one-hitting them, which I guess pretty sick. Let's just pop this real quick. This is gonna be a bit of a fucker. Let's just put our spawn point here first, and then we'll rest. Yeah. So the planet's a bit of a wrathful god. It's talking to the psykers and telling them to do a lot of bad stuff. Basically, it's a bit of an eldritch horror kind of thing, where it's trying to spread across the universe and make everything horrible by spreading immortality disease. And immortality, first it makes you go insane, then it makes you the slave of the planet. So it's very much like a living symbiote thing. So anyway, this is the ultimate challenge. You fight all three of these enemies back to back, and it kind of sucks. It's cool, it's really cool, but it also kind of sucks. Yeah, they don't play around either. Like, they're all going at it. They haven't restrained their fight orders whatsoever. The only real respite you have is that they fight each other sometimes, which is kind of neat, I guess. Yeah, this is a bit of a... Once you take one out, it isn't too hard, but you have to take one out first, I guess, is the entire crux of that argument. God. Oh, no. So another cool thing is that they all have your same moveset, so they're all doing the same thing of awakening weapons and just generally speaking, dashing around and blocking. You have to be very careful with these guys. Because, like, if you saw earlier in the challenges where I got locked off by, like, 1 or 2 people and they sort of beat the shit out of me, that can happen, like, times 100 in this one. As you can see here. I'm running out of healing items. I didn't think that would happen. So this guy's probably going to be the first to die. They do hurt each other, which is, again, very good. Very good for me. Ooh, yikes. Okay. A good thing about having so much stamina is the biggest worry here is ice weapons will kill you very quickly. It shouldn't be too hard from here. I'll try not to jinx myself. Yeah, I think I just jinxed myself, but yeah, it shouldn't be too bad from here. Just trying to kill this guy real quick. There you go. If he just wailed on me there, I would be dead. Anyway, this guy's gone. And then you're the last one, and we'll do you pretty typically. I think they do add a new move for each, because they didn't actually typically have all of this stuff. So we begin as we began. It's good. It's good stuff. I like it when games do this. Oh wow, you can heal? I didn't have any idea you could do that. That's enough. Alright. So that's the ultimate challenge. That gives you an achievement and is the hardest thing you can do in the game, I think. I'd personally argue that there's a few things much harder than that in this game, but the ultimate challenge, the name speaks for itself. So, there you go. 85 agility is a lot of agility. My stamina's out the roof. You can get the bar to go all the way across, and that's... I always love it when games let you do that. If you go this way, I will go to the psyker and show off a thing which validates a lot of what I was saying earlier with the lore. So we're just gonna walk up here. These guys stay asleep, I think. Or they don't, because why would they? There you go. As you can see, my health hasn't gone up all game, nor has my armor, so I'm basically the same old dude as beforehand. Can I just sneak past? Alright, see ya, buddy. There you go. We're just gonna try and gun our way back here. Luckily, these guys are trivial now, so I can do this very quickly. I probably should have bought the decoy earlier, so I wouldn't have to run all the way back, but that's fine. Yeah, mistake on my part. It's okay, there's only a little bit left now, guys. It's alright. We did our best. We're really trying here. So we go back to the secret store, and I'll buy the decoy. And I'll just quickly kill myself. Hello, psyker. I wonder if the lone psyker has any dialogue. Nope. He's still being pretty lonely. Buy the decoy here. And I don't really mind too much. I'll just reset my position real quick. So this is a bad room to do decoying in, but it's fine. Change items. Where are you? Decoy? I think I have 5 agility. I'll show a few of the items off as well, actually. Let me just kill these guys. Oh wait, I'll have to redo it anyway, because... So decoy. So everything in this is... You've been seeing these two for the most part, but... The hyper is the same thing as the Immortal Blood, but for stamina. It overcharges your stamina even, so you get a bunch extra. You can really swing at people. The throwing knife is a knife you throw. I hope that is brought across by the name. Stasis trap, you put it down, people are frozen for a while. First time you hit them, they get unfrozen. Mine is the same mine as from the alien commander. This is a frisbee. It's not a very good frisbee. This puts poison on the floor, ice on the floor, and you can buy the fire on the floor from the vendor I skipped earlier. The psyker stim is one of the best items in the game. It gives you an extra spell use every time you use it and restores your stamina, so it makes mage builds pretty viable. And there's also the decoy, which I'll show you off in a second. The decoy is just like it's a decoy. I don't really know what to tell you there. So what you do mostly is you max out intelligence, and the more intelligence you put in, the more item uses you get, which seems counterintuitive because it boosts spell damage. But with the psyker stim, if you get enough item uses for it, you can boost all your spells. So technically, it's actually better because you can benefit from both. Anyway, doesn't really matter too much. If I do a mage run, or if I show off a mage run rather, I'll show how that goes. But you can keep throwing the frisbee a little bit, or sorry, the decoy a little bit, and you'll see that eventually. It might take a second, but what happens is that it has a bit of secret dialogue hidden behind here. So this is a decoy view. It takes a hit for you. It's not very complicated. The commander has the commander. I think I did a spoiler there. The Sleepless Outcast has a much better version. This is taking a while. There you are. So here's the Sleepless Outcast. And what we find out is that he's actually the captain. So basically everybody who's come onto this planet is from a ship, and they got given the gift of immortality, or the curse of immortality, which means that they slowly lose their memories and slowly become a prisoner of the planet at the cost of living forever in the cryopods and everything. What was I trying to say? Yeah, so it's a plague, it's infectious, it's a disease. So the idea was the planet's really, really cold. And the aliens we saw earlier were human beings, or just aliens of any variety, looking for the secret of immortality before they came here, and then the planet infected them as well. The idea is the psykers were the first to tap into the planet, actually talking to them. And they all went insane, and they took everything over, and they ended the cycles. The reason why the people hibernate isn't... The immortality is much stronger than that. You'll come back regardless anyway. But the hibernation makes the memory loss process and the also sentience process take a lot longer. So it's just very basic disease prevention. Or rather, I guess... what's a better way of phrasing it? It's just putting it off, basically. There's a word for that. It slows the process down. There you go. So the planet's really evil, and it's pretty eldritch, and in the ideal world, which we could have occupied, we would have had this secret ending, which shows us fighting the planet, or rather, this good ending, which shows us fighting the planet and preventing this horrible curse on the galaxy. But unfortunately, the developer never put it in. And it's really cool. The game has a good story, and like everything, all the lore is very well placed together, and it makes sense and has a very concrete feel to it. But he had to fuck it up. He had to be a bit of an asshole. So that's basically the entire game. All that's left now is the final boss fight. I might have missed a few items here and there, but I haven't really shown off any of the spells or items for the most part, so I think you can forgive me for that. What we're going to do now is we're going to walk forward. And there's a bunch of tips or a bunch of hints from everybody. For example, this boy here and this boy here. Yeah, this guy really depresses me because he's a really nice dude. Anyway, he's talking about rumblings because the planet's sort of waking up. And it's going to try and take over the entire galaxy, which is bad, and you don't want that. And the cold is also a part of the planet as well, which is what the captain was noting earlier. Everybody's lost their memories and have no idea why they're doing all the stuff they're doing. But this used to be a normal planet, and this used to be a normal ship and everything, and there used to be people who could die. But as time went on, they lost more and more of their original memories and made a society around immortality, the weirder everything got. And it's also really cold, so our boy here is pretty frozen. So this guy's talking about down. This guy's talking about going down. Oh, I forgot to talk to the computer. Let me go talk to the computer real quick. And I'll explain a few more things about what's going on. So I think only the captain... Well, the captain doesn't know anymore. The Sleepless Outcast is the captain, by the way. He's the captain of the ship that we were originally on. Anyway... I'm not sure who we were, but we were pretty important too from the looks of it. Anyway, talking to the computer, he's like, "Hey, have you done restoring the cycle so we can go back to sleep in the cryopods?" And then you go, "Nope, the twins tore it apart," which makes sense because the planet was talking to them to tell them to tear the cycles apart so the disease could spread faster. Sacred structure, they made a bunch of technology that was being used to prevent disease. They made it all a bunch of religious. They made a religion around it, basically. I'm having trouble speaking again. They made a religion around it. Anyway, since the computer is like torn apart and the planet's rumbling and everything, the temple AI, which is the only thing that can really fix it, is like, "Hey, if you go back to the fortress, could you please fix up the computer so we can go back to the cycles and stop being as insane?" Unfortunately, the temple AI is actually this dude over here. And he's pretty dead looking from as you can see. So there's not enough time to actually teach our character how to fix the PC. So this dude's basically like, "Yeah, man, just do whatever you want. It's fine." Which I guess is what we're going to be doing. So everybody's joking around about going down, which is a bit of a spoiler. I guess that's what we're going to be doing next. This is going to make you mad the first time you see it. And I think that's pretty justified because it's pretty fucking stupid. Yeah, so you have a maximum of 6 blood viscosity, and you get 10 in a normal run. So you dash down here. Everything in the game so far has told you that dashing down is bad, but not really. Just do it here for some reason. So this is the last weapon in the game, or the first weapon in the game you pick up, depending on how you look at it. This is the flame katana. Oh, thank goodness. I've had that sneeze for the last 20-30 minutes now. Christ. Anyway. This is the flame katana, the best weapon in the game by far. The damage scaling isn't as good as the other weapon, but its awakened stance is way better. It's got a bunch of unique mechanics to it. It's a very, very good weapon. So after doing all that stuff we did before, you can pick this up almost immediately, by the way. There's nothing preventing you from getting this the first time you see this hole in the hub world. So you can get the best weapon very early on, and it makes the game very easy. Anyway, if you remember from earlier, after killing Prisoner 1 and the twins, who are the two, what's the word? They were the leaders of the psychic cult. They were keeping these hands on them, and these hands were the original captain's hands. The captain we're about to fight might have been a, what's the word? Not a predecessor, a successor, there you go. He might have been a successor to the other captain. So we put the hands down, and this ship locks in, and we're about to leave the Immortal Planet, but then our virtual character comes in, and it's a pretty cool fight. I'm going to heal real quick. So, again, this fight's pretty cool because it's the exact same thing as you, and the Flame Katana is very good because it stuns immediately as well. He mixes a lot of the abilities you see from earlier boss fights. He has unique attacks too. It's pretty strong. He stims himself up very often. You can just recreate this guy's build pretty one for one. He only uses 2 spells and 2 items as far as I can tell. So, cool thing to do here is you can do this, And it sort of locks them up in perfectly. Locks people in place perfectly because of how quickly you can, what's the word? Keep them sunlocked. Really? Okay, there you go. That's an interesting feature. I didn't realize that the... Okay, anyway. I didn't realize that when the holograms die, they move the flames. So let's do this, let's do this. And he will simpack along with you as well, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I always like it when they're just using your mechanics better. A lot of the boss fights in this game are pretty easy because it's very much based on the same mechanics you're playing on. So this one slice should be enough there. Yikes. Please. Okay. Alright. Okay. Sleepless Outcast is by far the coolest boss fight in the game. By the way, he is... I wouldn't say he's difficult, but he is a lot more interesting than the other boss fights. With the Alien Commander, you saw that he was pretty easy to cheese. But the Sleepless Outcast / Captain, he has a lot of different moves he can do in a fight. Probably the most comprehensive moveset in this game by far. In fact, probably a lot more moves than you even get, which is very interesting to see in a boss. Normally, the only thing you have going for you against a boss is the fact that you have a lot more options than they do. But that's a bit tilted on his head with this boss fight here. So if you respawn, make sure to dash immediately, otherwise he'll get you with a immediate spell, which is kind of shitty. You lose a lot of health for no reason. Oh, he has a stim pack as well, and he will almost immediately kill you because he's very strong. And he means serious business. Yup. Yup. I like the flame katana because if you block with it perfectly, you leave a flame trail around you as well. And the sheath is formed though, not when it's out like this. So I'll show that off real quick. I didn't block it perfectly, I guess. Ah, the timing must be really exact. Anyway, if you block perfectly, you'll release a bunch of flames around you when you block. Which isn't actually good because it hurts you, but it is cool. That's the important part. Rule of cool is all that matters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, big slash. Alright. A stim pack would make me very overpowered here. Very, very overpowered. So you might have noticed I haven't used my ice spells or anything yet. The reason is it sort of trivializes this boss, and I really want to make it show off how cool it is because it's a cool boss fight. But you can make him locked so he can't even use one healing pack the entire way through, which makes it, as you would imagine, very, very easy to beat him because he has like a smaller life bar than you do. Will he heal you? Nope. So let's just there you go. Done and dusted. He only gives 2,000 EXP, but that's the game basically. We're done. I think I explained all the lore. I'm not sure if there's anything else left to explain. Let me have a quick look. Not really. I'm not sure who this is supposed to be. I imagine it's supposed to be the final boss that was supposed to be in the game, but they're not there. I've never encountered this enemy. I might just be dumb, but I don't think they exist. Anyway, that's the game. We did it. Immortal Planet. It's pretty good. A lot of different runs you can do in it. The playstyle I showed off is very particular. In a Nightmare mode run, you have a lot more options as well because you get all 3 starting relics, which is very, very good. And you can also get to choose your starting weapon, so you can go straight away for the Split Spear or the Flame Katana. As you can see with the red here, this is the bad ending. It's the only ending, but it's also the bad ending. Would I recommend buying this game? I think yes. I think it's fun enough that it is... Yeah, here he is, Tomasz Wachtavik. Tomasz Wachtavik. A bit of a dick. He really shouldn't have lied, but you know what? He made a good game. Lucas Pastores. There's like 6 people who worked in this game. I'll let the credits roll, but the guy who was on the what's the word? Public relations team, Shard, really had a hard time of it because he was trying very hard to fight for the game not having a bunch of controversy around it, and I think it didn't really work in his favor. Yeah, everybody here did a very good job. The only guy who really let it down is the creator and the, I guess, owner of the intellectual property. if you do buy it, you'll be supporting everybody else. So, yeah, do that if you can. Thank you very much for watching. We've been playing here for about 2 hours now. 2 or 3 hours, I reckon, easily. It's like 7:20, isn't it? Jeez. Time flies. Yeah, I guess hit subscribe or something. If you've been watching it for this long and you haven't hit subscribe, I'm physically aghast. I'm gonna go, like, stare at a wall for probably an hour or something. I'm very tired and very hungry. I'll see you around, though. Bye.